sit down.
Well, hello, everyone. Yes, that is my Mornings with Andy intro. I figured, why not? I've got it. I might as well show it. Everybody, welcome to the Brofessionals. That is right. It is the Brofessionals. We are in the house. We are going to be talking about our favorite comic strips. It can be favorite strips that we just found out about in the past few years, or maybe from our childhood. We don't know until we get into the show. Oh, look at that. I did a rhyme just for Frag-a-Boom. Nowhere near as good as what the Boom Man does, but I try. And you know, trying is half the battle. Is that how that goes? Maybe not. I don't know. All right, boys and girls, let's get this started. First and foremost, he's bringing the pain. He's bringing the wrath of God. It is Aaron Wrath Lepresti.
Wraith. Come on, man. See,
Wraith.
I screwed up yours, so you can screw up mine. So now we're even, dude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that was part of my plan.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
No, it
Wraith.
wasn't.
Wraith
So,
of God.
Wraith.
It's a play on words.
Wraith of God. And I'll pimp it in the beginning and at the end. Below in the description, there's a link for Aaron's sign-up page, so you can click on it, go sign up to his campaign so you know when it goes live.
Yes, do it. Thank you.
Next up on the stream, we got the Boom Man, Frag-a-Boom.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know I was going to be next. I just, so far, I'm very happy to be part of the Brofessionals. We are here. We're doing our thing. And your intro was spot on because it's morning somewhere.
It is morning somewhere. Somewhere somebody's watching this. Well, the funny thing is I added that clap right before the thing comes up, because at the end of the video, actually, this thing comes up that says Mornings with Andy, subscribe, you know, all that. So I was like, I'll just cut that and throw the crowd in. So
still morning somewhere.
It is still morning somewhere. Thank you for that acknowledgement. And Black Flag description below has a link to it. And we'll talk about all that.
Yeah, we're in demand. We're in demand.
He is in demand. Talking about in demand, this guy's in demand. This boot ass-kicking guy, John Wayne, mother effer, Graham Nolan in the house. He's coming to us from the Alamo. Look at that background. He is there. In the
you know what? I just want to say that it is me that's in mourning because I'm in mourning for this freaking show.
Why? Why would you say that? You know, I caught some of Aaron's live stream earlier today, and this guy and Aaron, you know, pimped out tonight's show, and this guy commented to Aaron, and maybe you'll remember who it was, but he goes, Aaron, you should drink every time Graham mentions Roy Crane. And Aaron goes, if I do that, I'll be drunk really quick.
I drank the first 5 minutes.
Well, dude, you better start drinking tonight because we're talking about comic strips. So
I know.
I'm actually super excited, and no discount on any of the other gentlemen, but Graham has turned me on to so many comic strips in the last year that I can't wait to hear him talk about some new stuff.
This is my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. It was tough. I told Aaron before the show, it was tough for me to narrow down because I want to grab something from childhood, something kind of current that I guess just got into and whatever. So anyhow, without further ado, we're going to bring in are what we like to call him the father figure of the group, or the grandfather figure of the group. We all look up to him and respect him, mostly because he has hair. It's Art Bear in the house.
Father Time. Father Time.
Father Time. He's got the book.
And he's brought his cheat sheet.
Well, the way Andy says it is like, you better bring, stuff to the table. And I'm like, what, homework? And he's like, yeah. So I'm like,
Graham's already shared his screen.
Homework. And also, by the way, MFer is probably the worst thing you could call a dude. If you think about what it actually means.
What do you mean?
That's true.
All of us who have children, all of us who have children are MFers. Tell me I'm wrong.
Well, you would.
No, you're wrong. You're wrong because they weren't.
Art was there when they were new.
Before you,
I know that's what I was going to say. Yep.
Yeah, but they're
Not in
mothers
my
now.
case.
So
Not in my case. I'm a stepdad.
Oh,
I'm a stepdad.
I dated a woman
would-
before I got married that had a kid. So
Yeah, I just thought I'd dirty things up for Aaron's wholesomeness.
Yeah, well, it's starting to, some of your guys' bad influence on the chats are kind of seeping over into my my live stream. So I'm fighting pretty hard to keep it PG.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
Aaron used the D word the other day. He said, "Damn."
Did I?
Oh.
Was I referring to like something to hold back water? Or
Yes, you were, but we're counting that.
you know what? I'm gonna have to pull that clip. I'm gonna have to pull that clip of Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man telling Cap language when Cap says the S word.
Well, I just have to say, Aaron, it took me a while on these live streams to loosen up the language, but it'll happen.
No, not with me.
You'll be dropping F-bombs soon.
No, I got a reputation I have to withhold. So we're up.
Well, Aaron threatened to put me in timeout, so I had to clean it up on his chat today.
Well, there was a little man thing discussion going on, and then of course Andy took it like to the third level, and it was kind of like
all I said was Aaron likes Five Guys.
Mm-hmm.
No, there was the one after that.
Hey,
you know what?
I'm just like, like the man thing. So
After that, I simply said Aaron likes the juiciness of Five Guys in his mouth. I don't understand.
Okay, that's what he said.
Now, if he likes Five Guys, he must also like In and Out.
Yeah.
See, I tolerate innuendo, but I don't tolerate just out of control crassness that I was getting.
If you like In and Out
Andy.
and Five Guys, you might like Wiener Schnitzel, depending on the dog's size.
Whataburger.
They got a 12-inch. They got a 12-inch dog.
Oh my goodness!
Stand for the win. Stand for the win.
And by the way, guys, Art Bear. In the description, I have a link to his sign-up page for Black and White Volume 2. And for Gran, there's a link for Alien Alamo. So they're all in the description. We're all linked up.
Mm-hmm.
So we will roll through this kind of just, like we do every time. We'll start with Aaron and then Fraga, Graham, Art, then to me. One strip at a time, please. And I'll go last. So, Aaron, you're up first. It can be humor. It doesn't matter. However you want to do it.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to start with
Little Abner.
No, I'm going to start with my favorite strip when I was a kid was Shoe by Jeff McNally.
Oh, okay.
Dude, that's a good one.
But you're showing a Brooklyn strip.
Brooklyn? Who's that?
Yeah,
that's the guy who took over after McNally died.
The guy who, yeah.
Whatever.
Here's the problem, Graham. Here's the problem. You and I are National Cartoonist Society members. These other schmoes aren't.
No.
So
what happened was I was skimming really quickly, and I saw that and I go, "That's kind of funny." So I took that one and didn't realize that I had shortchanged Jeff McNally. Oh, well, now I feel bad, but anyway, you guys get the gist of it. When Jeff McNally was doing the strip, that's when I was reading it, and it was my my favorite strip. I love the artwork. It was kind of like political cartooning, but just slightly, a little bit more I don't know what I want to say. Not necessarily animated quality, maybe animated quality. I mean, it had a very political slant to everything that he was doing, but the cartooning to me was just a little bit higher quality than sometimes you get in a political strip. And I always am attracted, no matter what I'm involved with, I'm attracted to the artwork first. And I really thought this was consistently funny, which is, you know, I'll read any comic strip, even if it's not funny, if the artwork's good. But this one I thought was consistently funny and consistently well drawn. And the politics never got over my head as a young person and a teenager when I was reading this. And maybe that was because I was dialed in just enough to know what was going on. But I thought a lot of his humor was more about life observation as much as it was about politics. So, yeah, so there you go. So I'm sorry that I misrepresented Jeff McNally with the wrong strip here, but I still think it's a pretty funny strip. I like that.
Well,
that is a funny
was a political cartoonist. He was a Pulitzer Prize winner.
Yes, he was. That's right. Pulitzer Prize winning Jeff McNally, but he never did. But his art had sort of that political cartoonist feel to it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that was his wheelhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I assume he did both at the same time.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, that's kind of what I remember from a kid. Because I remember, one of the reasons I brought this up as a topic, besides the fact, I know we've all talked about comic strips before, is I don't know about you guys, but my dad would get to I grew up in the DC area, and my dad would get the Washington Post daily, and he'd sit at one end of the table, I'd be at the other, and he'd shoot me over the comic section. And 6 days a week it was the black and white. Sunday it was the big full color stuff. And yeah, I mean, there's so many to pick from, and as soon as you pop that up, even though it's not Jeff doing the art and stuff, it's still the guy's doing a good job with it.
Yeah.
And that's a strip I remember as well. So
yeah, I actually have two collections of shoe strips back on my bookshelf, and I don't necessarily go out and buy like collections of stuff, but those I got when I was a kid, when I think it was called the first shoe book, came out, and it was sort of, it was kind of elongated, to fit the daily strip format. Mm-hmm. And I was probably early junior high when that came out, sometime in the middle to late 70s. And I picked that thing right up, didn't even hesitate, because I just loved it so much. So that's my number one, probably all time newspaper strip.
Oh, cool.
So there you go.
About you, Fragga Boom, what you got?
Well, there's a bunch that are probably super obvious, and I'll name them after we go around the horn once, if nobody else does, because there's some super obvious ones out there.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We need to do like just runners up, because I have a list like super.
No kidding.
I mean, you're talking like Calvin and Hobbes. I mean,
Calvin and Hobbes, Pogo, Peanuts. Those are like, of course.
Yes, right.
Air. Air and water. We like them. But there was one particular strip that I got onto as a kid, and it's the Spider-Man newspaper strip by Stan Lee and John Romita. And later on,
I had that.
And later on, it was Roy Thomas and Fred Kita. And then I know Alex Salviat came in afterwards, but I enjoyed it because it was Spider-Man. It was a different format. It felt different than the comics to me. And when I was a kid, I started my quote unquote professional career as a kid. I had my own strip in my local town newspaper. And I learned everything about daily pacing from Spider-Man newspaper strip. There was a sense of pacing to it that I always felt like I got enough. And I always felt like I couldn't wait till tomorrow. And that feeling kept on going and going. There you go. Kept going and going. It was just great. I mean, for a lot of people, they would think, a lot of this stuff is just retellings of stuff in the books. But there were stories that were different. It was like I think I brought up on the last Brofessionals the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood novelization.
Yeah.
There's so much in it that's not in the movie that makes the experience better. I felt like that with Spider-Man. Of course, it was drawn really awesomely, but again, it was the format just felt different as a kid. As an adult, I could put my finger on it, but as a kid, I couldn't. I just knew it. It felt different, supplemental,
it's
but
kind
not.
It's kind of widescreen format.
Yeah. It felt supplemental, but not light. If that makes sense.
Do you have the John Romita Senior collections they put out?
Yes, and I also have the big yellow one, the big yellow one that has Stan Lee and Spider-Man. It photographed of them on the back facing off.
Oh, cool! I don't have that.
Yeah,
one yet.
I love
good.
that opening panel right there where he's lifting the bus. That's the one I remember when I was reading that. Was that opening panel there?
Like my newspaper only got the Sunday strip. It didn't get the dailies of Spider-Man. So that as soon as I saw that opening panel, man, all these memories came back because that was it.
Yeah, thanks for pulling this up too. I didn't get a chance to pull stuff up.
Look at that second panel.
My local paper carried the dailies and the Sundays, and I cut them out.
Yeah,
I got the first year in a manila folder that were cut out from the newspaper of John Romita.
Oh yeah, and he was on for 77 to 80 something.
I think he was less than 2 years because Ross Andrew was already ghosting. After,
really?
Yeah.
He ghosted on the strips.
Ross Andrew was ghosting, and Romita was inking him.
Okay.
Within a year and a half, something like that.
Yeah, because I think Larry Lieber, Stan's brother here, was on it because these are the ones I actually remember more than the Romita Senior ones. I remember these Larry Lieber ones more.
Yeah, he was after Kidda, I guess that's how you say his name, and then Salviak was after Larry Lieber.
Yeah, Larry
I
Lieber
always forget
had,
about
I think, one of the longest runs of anybody.
Yeah,
that's what I thought.
That's Larry Lieber was doing the strip that finally showed up in our paper out here, and I think being on the West Coast, we didn't, we're always like the last to get anything because I'm sure you guys in the East Coast and New York area, that stuff, the second it came out, it was in every newspaper on the East Coast. Yeah. But this is what I remember.
Aaron's comics, there's still Ditko is still drawing Spider-Man.
Yeah, when Spider-Man came out in the West Coast, I was 12 and 77. Ditko issues,
We're like, holy crap! Spider-Man quit. He threw his costume in the trash on the West Coast. Aaron's like, spoilers, guys. I won't get that till next year.
Somebody just told me Gwen Stacy died, and I'm like, what? When did that happen?
When did that happen?
What do you mean Norman Osborn's the Green Goblin?
Damn it. I didn't see that coming. I used to I didn't cut out those Spider-Man strips, and I saved the whole comic section. And I had a stack of them. And then after a while, I was like, why am I saving these? But I just did because it was like a collector when I was a kid. And I was like, ooh, these are really cool, And
I bet they smell great.
Oh, yeah.
I love that smell.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, the thing is, back then, like you didn't know if it was ever going to be reprinted. I mean, like going to the movies in the theater, like it was a one-off. Like you never knew you were going to see it again. Like even comic books were fairly disposable when we grew up, except for when Dan and Andy grew up.
No one was doing collections or anything,
Yeah.
And John Romita was the man for me, at that point. And so when I saw him in my newspaper, it's like, oh shit, I got to cut these out, especially the Sundays, because the dailies were actually colored. The Florida Today paper actually colored the dailies, and it was like a 2-color process. It looked like shit. But the Sundays were colored by the syndicate. So when the Sundays came out, those looked really sharp. They looked better than the comic books, and I cut all those out too.
Tucci's here, guys.
Billy.
I sense him.
Wait.
You sent the Tooch?
Hold on. There he is. Oop.
He's floating.
The chair is in the house.
What's up, fellas? Fix my.
What is up?
shitty. I'm cleaning my studio up. What's going on, fellas? Sorry, I'm late. Graham, did you get my message?
I did, and I relayed it to the boys.
Yeah, my sons they had a baseball game and it went late, and they won. But
get the W.
That's right, got the W, man. That's what's important. So I never missed.
As long as he didn't strike out looking.
No, he struck. He
strike out swinging.
He walked twice and he struck out once. And I'm trying to remember how.
He better swung.
He was swinging for the walls.
Yeah, but he swung on his back foot. And I'm like, dude, what are you swinging on your back foot for? He's like, I know. I yelled at him in front of everybody to hit him. I had to slap him,
Let him swing.
Hey, man.
Like
you got to do
Morrow.
what you got to do.
Yeah, like
Did the slap come off the back foot?
I did. I slapped him off the back foot. So seeing out that was the front foot, then he would have felt it.
Yeah,
you gotta be a good example to your children.
Turn that wrist over.
And the other parents, and look at all the dads.
Well, you got to realize he'll probably be a dad someday. He needs to know how to smack his kid.
Needs to know how to smack his kids. That's right.
Yep, absolutely.
And he can't bring the razor strap out and beat it up with that.
No, they don't.
In front of everybody.
Yeah, they frown on that.
Flashbacks.
You wrap him in the head. Wrap him. But then
I wrapped to my kids.
I'm also that dad that I'm not. I'm not coaching. This year, thank God. But I'm still the guy that I'm just like the dad that's sitting on the side when a kid gets a home run. I just run up. I just give him a little tap on the butt. Like, yeah, attaboy. Everyone looks at me like I'm weird. That's how weird is it?
It's weird because I go to girls softball games and give them all a tap on the butt like that. You just assume I'm the coach.
And it's not even.
Well, I mean college.
There you go.
Talk about comic strips.
Okay.
Yeah,
anyhow, so now,
all right, back to comic strips.
There you go.
Back to it's Graham's turn. Graham, I'm going to share your screen.
Yep.
Screen.
My first strip, first choice is one of the greatest of all time. It's E.C. Segar's Popeye.
Oh yeah.
And this is pure comics. At a time when corporations didn't co-opt the comics, and this happened to Popeye. And in fact, when we do a Brofessionals, when I'm the host, one of the things we're going to talk about is characters that have been changed from the original concept. And the thing is going to be, have they been changed for the better or for the worse? And in the case of Popeye, he was homogenized later on. When E.C. Segar was doing him, he had an edge. If you look at this comic strip, this is Wimpy, who's always chasing after the hamburger and the easy grift and all that kind of stuff. And he ends up chasing this cow. And the last panel here is him. He's caught the cow and he's got a meat grinder and he's grinding the cow up. You can see his hoof here.
Oh my God.
And in this pound of ground meat, and he's just eating these burgers. You would never see this in a comic strip today.
Look at the head.
Oh yeah, the head, and it's got the X's and everything. This is amazing.
That is awesome.
Yeah, this is pure Popeye. Back in the
Sunday
day, the creator had full control over him.
Was this a Sunday strip? There's a lot of panels. Usually there's not that many panels.
It's a Sunday strip, yeah. Yeah.
God,
That's so funny. Awesome.
Yeah. And E.C. Segar was one of these guys that, he could do stories of just one-off gags, if you will, but then he would do these great adventure stories too, because Popeye crossed over the line between humor and adventure stories, like when the Sea Hag came into it, and the Goon, and what was it, Pirate Island or something like that? I can't remember what it was now. There was treasure hunting, and these amazing little adventure stories that happened within the strip. I can't say enough about the genius of E.C. Segar and this strip.
I just saw a documentary on the Flesher Studios, the animation studios, and they eagerly went after the Popeye license so they could animate it, because that guy knew that was going to translate over well in animation. He loved the style, the design work. He said he could see the way the characters moved in the strip. So he was like, we have to do this. And it actually put them on the map. You know, up to that point, the studio was kind of just floundering. They had success, but nothing, you know, like what Popeye brought them. And what's weird is, as a kid, I always thought Popeye was a cartoon. I never knew it started in the comic strips, you know, until later. But yeah, I mean, it's iconic. And yeah, even in the cartoons, they kind of homogenized and they kind of cleaned them up a little bit. But the early Popeye cartoons were pretty edgy.
And the Fleischer cartoons, those early black and white ones, are really close to the Seeger style. Whenever the cartoons open up with that door opening up on the ship and closing with the credits, you know you're in for a good cartoon.
And didn't Kirby and Bob Kane work as in-betweeners for Fleischer on Popeye?
Kirby did for sure. Bob Kane took credit for it.
Yes, there you go. There it was. There's all the daddies. All the dads.
Yeah.
You say goodnight to them?
No.
Good night.
I don't want to go to bed.
Yeah.
I do.
Love you, baby.
Aaron's like, I'd love to.
Who said that, Aaron?
Yeah, somebody tuck me in, man.
Aaron, you're 3 hours behind. It's only 5:30 there.
I know, and I'm ready, man. Getting old.
Love you too.
Not as old as Art and I.
That's true. Well, I've been burning the candle at both ends here for like a week, and it's catching up again.
You're good. You're fine.
Oh,
All right, Mr. Taber.
All right, are we ready? I'm gonna
We're
share
ready.
screen. I'm gonna share screen here. Man, I still hear Dan's kid.
Artemis T. Bear.
All right, so you getting this?
Oh yeah.
I just took one of mine.
Yeah, this was the big one. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, I knew of comic strips, but my parents weren't big newspaper people, so I didn't really have too much exposure to it as a younger person. But once I got out on my own and, you know, started picking up the paper, and this was there, and I was like, wow, this speaks to me. Just manic, just crazy. The characters, the style guide, the style of the characters, just everything was perfect. And then, you know, like the iconic open cat, just amazing stuff. And this, I'm sorry, man.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah, and I love the ink line. I think he's one of the better like cartoonists out there, and just freaking nailed it. Like, all these characters are just
there you go.
Thwips. And also, if you guys haven't watched this movie, there's a movie called Secondhand Lions with Robert Hall.
Oh,
and
awesome movie.
Yeah, all the cartoons and comic strips, the artwork is Burt Brevhead. He did all the artwork, and hang out for the credits, because there's more of his drawings there, and I'm absolutely in love with this guy's ink line. I think it's perfection. Look at that.
Bill the Cat.
Yeah, his ink line. He's one of those guys that I totally agree. His ink line is just so spontaneous and just
luscious.
It has such a life to it. Yeah, it's luscious.
It's vintage.
Yeah, it's kinetic, and it just radiates energy and fun. So Burke would be mine. Like Bloom County. It later became Outland?
Outland.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it as much then, but yeah, that would be mine. That was the first big one, and then of course, you know, there was Calvin and Hobbes.
A million others, right?
I mean,
I read this interesting article on Burke Breathed, or however you pronounce his name, Berkey Breathed, that it was in, I can't remember, it was like some sort of college magazine thing or whatever, and somebody had interviewed him, and and he had told the story that he was a guy who liked to go do stuff, and it was adventurous, and they had a shot of him on one of those what are those a gyroscope, like little helicopter things you sit in a chair and
gyrocopter.
Yeah, and of him flying one of those things, and just and he's apparently what his method was, that he would do a whole month's worth of work in 1 week and then screw around for 3 weeks, basically. And he was telling stories about, basically getting on the airplane and finishing up a Bloom County strip. And by the time he landed at his syndicate, he'd be finished and hand it off to him. And then he was done for 3 weeks. And then he'd go through the same process of killing himself for a week just so he could have 3 weeks off, which I thought was really sort of interesting.
It's a good way to live.
Well, he made it work for him. He made the lifestyle work for him.
But you know what? That's, we're talking about cartoonists, and that whole Connecticut enclave of cartoonists, that the Mort Walkers, the Stan Drakes, the Dick Browns, all these guys that lived in that Connecticut enclave, they worked a certain amount of hours, and they were on the golf course and drinking. And these guys lived lives that we can only imagine. Yeah. It's when I read about these guys and the lives they lived and the shit that they did, it's like, holy cow.
They're all Connecticut guys, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're all living there. Kurt Swan, he was part of that too. He lived there. I'm just like, oh my God, how awesome is that?
Those are the days, man.
Yeah.
When you get guys like Milt Caniff on the cover of Time magazine.
Yeah.
It's like cartoonists were respected.
Yeah.
Well, they were very well paid. They made a lot of money.
Milt Caniff made so much money. His wife hated to cook. His house didn't even have a kitchen. Wow. They ate at the country club every night.
Really?
Bananas. That's bananas.
Crap.
And we wore right
in the freaking house, but she hated to cook. They ate at the country club.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Holy crap.
The professionals have to recapture that spirit of those guys.
Especially we need more money, people.
That's right.
Everybody in the chat to back these projects get us so that we can get rid of our freaking kitchens and eat at the country club.
Exactly. That's our goal. That's our stated goal now.
That's our stated goal.
And then we get trophy wives.
That's right.
We all have trophy wives.
We have them.
That is true. We do. I'll drink to that.
That's right.
I'll go to the country club with that.
Hanging with the swells.
All right.
Aaron, where were you when you pissed Milt Caniff off?
In the kitchen.
I was waiting on his table at the country club, and I
spilled some food on him.
No, I went up to him and I went up to him. I said, "Mr. Caniff, I'm such a pleasure to meet you. The way you draw Tarzan is spectacular." And
shit!
It was.
And then his wife said, "He doesn't draw Tarzan," and you're like, "Excuse me, see over there. That's the way to the kitchen."
Bernie Wrightson leaned over into Caniff's ear and said, "Who is this guy?"
And the funny thing is, I came with Wrightson, and by the time we got there, he forgot. he's like, "How am I getting home?" I'm going, "Bernie, who are you?"
Yeah, you see Bernie like very confused, like, "What's up?" He's like, "I got a ride here. I remember who. I don't remember who gave me a ride here. I know I get home."
That's awesome. True story, sort of.
There you go.
It's our true story.
Yeah, it's all. It's right. Exactly.
What you got, Team Sensation?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Team Sensation, you're up.
All right. Who have we covered thus far?
Doesn't matter.
Aaron's
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. But Aaron started just all you missed was Aaron brought up Shoe, that comic strip, and Fragaboom brought up Spider-Man.
Okay.
And
Okay.
you're
I came
here
in
for
with,
the rest.
yeah, I came in with Spider-Man. So, all right. Yeah, I did. I actually cut out, just to get back to it, I cut out a Spider-Man, it was a weekly strip, and I think Ramita drew it. And it had, they were going to Tucci's, their favorite restaurant, Tucci's.
Oh, really?
And I had it in my wallet. I don't know
Oh.
why, because you never see a name in the newspapers or anything like that. But all right, let me share my screen, and I'll hit with my first guy here, first chap, if you will. All right.
Got it.
Boom.
Oh,
No,
Scorchy Smith.
Scorchy
Scorchy Smith.
Look at that. If this did not inspire Indiana Jones,
I know. I was going to say Harrison.
Look at that first panel.
right?
I thought-
Is that
yeah.
crazy? But I just love it. I mean, look at the guns. You can see that you can tell he knows how to shoot a rifle and a pistol, a 45. He's got. It looks like an Enfield. This one over here. Let me see. Let me look at it on my screen. I could see what it is. One's definitely. Yeah, they're just like looks like they're Enfields. You know. And then you got the Dame laying back, 1936. I just love. I mean, that whole era. And this is a partial strip. I think it says. So it's not the full thing, but he's one of my biggest influences. I love the scratchiness to it. I love how confident he is. You could tell, like all these great cartoonists are, that they don't have to overwork things, and you look at all the smoke and stuff like that. It seems like he's just doing it on the whim, and it's so alive. It's so organic. And Sickles is he's just, up there with Kniff with me, and just brilliant. And I just love the chiaroscuro, if you will, Thank you. The dramatic light and shading, and just exceptional. I mean, you guys, I got his book in. IDW put out this fantastic book on him a few years back, and I recommend it for anyone if you guys can find it.
I've got one.
Right? I mean,
it's very expensive.
Yeah, probably, right?
But it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah, introduction by Steranko. And, I got that kind of cash, so.
That's right. You got Country Club cash.
I got Country Club capital. But this also shows a lot of more of his artwork. And he's just one of the greatest illustrators of the 20th century, I believe, too.
Wasn't he a pinch hitter on Scorchy Smith? Like he came in to sort of pinch hit while
I think he took over the strip, right?
Dude was sick. Was sick, and then he took it over. But he also had a process where he tried to match the original guy's style, and over months he basically like a gradient moved it into this style that we know and love. But he didn't want this abrupt style shift, so he eased the crowd into it step by step, adding a little more until we got what we have today.
Yeah. Is there grease pencil in there? There's like a gray tone that I can't really identify.
Let me see if I can look at it on the poster.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Yeah, it looks like
on a textured paper.
All that smoke. It's either real dry brush.
Yeah.
Or he did do it maybe with a grease pencil. But look how he spots those blacks.
Hey, you got to bring Graham back in.
What happened to Graham?
Graham bounced out. He couldn't handle the excitement.
Well, he borrowed Art's internet, and that's
there. We go. There he is. He's like, you're talking about Scorchy Smith, and he's back there going, "God damn it!"
God damn it. Was that another one of your guys?
Like it's Superman stuck in the little thing. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, he's like, Smith is the next storytellers next week.
Hell yeah!
Who is?
Noel Sickles.
Noel Sickles
is the next storytellers next week.
Wow,
awesome.
Nice. Graham, did Art? Did you go to school with Noel? With
Of course I did, Billy.
Did you set up that? You set up the storytellers?
Well, I got my grease pencil in the drawer because he inspired me.
Yeah, but I just find all of his art, all of his panels, like I said, the confidence of, you could just see what a confident illustrator he is, and just, I mean, look at it. Look how much black is on there, and this strip looks so good even from far away because you can just make it out and you know exactly what's going on. Just
well, that's
tremendous.
how those strip guys designed everything was for print. So it's stuff when you see it sometimes, unlike Hal Foster, that it looks amazing, huge. Sometimes these guys did stuff that were very loose, and then when it shrank down, it all came together, and you're like, "Holy shit, this guy's."
I have a print. This print right here behind me. If you pop it up, if you see what Peg Leg Pete wrote, I have. This is a painting by John Shaw. Let me put it on. Sorry, I got this of the Flying Tigers, and I got it signed by a bunch of them. So
nice.
See, cool. If I got his signature on there, if I got Bert Christmas.
Christensen.
Let me see.
Yeah, that's what Peg Leg Pete said. Bert, well, I guess he spelled it wrong then. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's Christensen.
Yeah, Chris. Let me check.
Yeah. He died. He was killed in China.
Oh, he was. So he obviously didn't sign this then.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know he was one of the guys that got killed.
Yeah.
Well, salute.
Wow.
That's a real American hero right there, buddy.
Absolutely. One of the AVGs.
Look at that. See, I love the Patriots. I love you guys know this stuff. Those comic book guys, you talk about that, AGV, and they're like, what?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah. We just passed the anniversary with the dispersal of the AVG.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and they flew those Warhawks, the
P-40s built in Buffalo, New York.
Well, look at you. Well, they flew the C models, and the C models were more streamlined as opposed to the Gs and the Ns, which most people know that have the bigger radiator in the front of that Allison engine. But
they're all built by Curtis Wright right here in Buffalo.
Yeah. Now it's a John Shaw, I believe. Yeah, John D. Shaw. It's not a Robert Taylor print. Yeah, Robert Taylor is the best. I just bought this because I got to meet him, and he was a really cool guy, and I met some of the Flying Tigers were there, so I got to meet them. So that's why I got it.
Well, so you were having dinner at the country club, and they had
at the club. Yes, indeed.
Right. I'm gonna get me one of those.
Yeah. I got the Tuskegee Airmen.
They had pictures at the country club. We know that.
Yes, the club. Yes, 1,000 times.
True. All right, so let's see. So for my first one, I'm just going with a memory from.
How you doing? Sorry.
I'm going with a memory from childhood. Billy, I was saying my dad would subscribe to the Washington Post, and he'd always toss the comics section to me. So one of the ones, and I just love the simplicity of the art, is let me click it here. Good old Peter Bailey by Mort Walker, just a classic.
Didn't Mort pass away last year? Didn't he just pass away like last year, Mort?
A couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think it was a couple.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a few years. But,
But I just, once again, the simplicity of the art, the humor, it didn't hit out of the park all the time, but it was consistent, and I thought that was good. Mm-hmm. And, he's like Charles Schultz when it came to cartooning and just the simplicity, you look in the first panel, that guy's sleeping, and just how, like, my mind just doesn't work like that to this day. To draw something like that,
I do remember this as a child. I do remember seeing this now because it was easy to read as a kid. It was one of the few comic strips. Now that I see it, I do remember it. Because it was easy to follow. I think it was very kid friendly.
Now, did you see it after the Yellow Kid, or was
he was fresh off doing assists for Windsor McKay on Nemo?
I don't want to hear it, Graham.
I know, Graham, you really can't talk.
I know. But you know what? I don't catch any of the flack. It all goes to Art, and we're only separated by like 3 or 4 months. But Art gets all the flack, so I figure I'm going to jump on board that ship.
Oh yeah. You know what?
One of the cool things, Mort wrote this book. Let me just solo screen.
Oh, that's an awesome book. I got that.
Stage at the Strips. It's a
what is
it's
it?
a heavy book. It's kind of like about his career in comic strips, and he goes into the craft of comic strips. It's 300 pages.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's called Backstage at the Strips by Mort Walker.
Yeah. That's a great book.
I can just show you real quick if you want to see, where was it? Just the table of contents. I mean, it's a short table of contents, but you probably can't even read it. But he just goes into, you know, the business of comics is a funny business, things like that. It's a, like Graham said, I'm glad somebody else here on the stream has it so they can vouch for it as well. And it's just talking about the business of comic strips and the how-tos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I
The
picked this
stuff
up
they had to go through to pitch it. You know, there's a story about Johnny Hart, how he had he was pitching this caveman strip, and nobody would go for it. And so he walked out of the syndicate. He took all his samples and he threw it in the trash. And then he kept walking. And he's like, "Fuck this." And then he was like, "You know what? Fuck them. You know, I've got faith in this." So he walked back to the trash can, picked the stuff up, went to the next syndicate, and bam, he sold BC.
That's my pick, damn it.
Yeah, don't get ahead of yourself, Graham. Come on,
That's
man.
my pick.
No, it actually,
Graham's a show hog.
Oh,
Touche, right, Graham?
well, Andy, that's the perfect time to bring up mine that I've got sitting up there. So now
okay, hold on. I got it.
so I can piss
Here
off
we go.
Dan.
Well, as long as it's not BC.
God damn it, man.
No. You know, so it's a great intro by Graham right there. He kind of introduced the whole thing.
It
So
was.
right into BC.
Perfect.
This again is, you know, when I really sort of went back and forth when Andy brought up this topic about maybe going back and getting strips that obviously that Art read as a kid, but I wasn't even born yet to see. And I thought about bringing those maybe to the foreground. And I thought, well, I should really do ones that I read as a kid that, you know, rather than ones I discovered later. And BC was one of the ones I read as a kid. It had that very simple but agreeable, fun style to it. You know, it was easy to follow, much like Art was talking about with Beetle Bailey. And and plus I'm a big dinosaur guy, so anything with cavemen in it, you know, I was like, oh, I got to read this. Mm-hmm. Now it's funny that you brought up a Johnny Hart story. The one I heard that was always, I thought, very interesting. I'm going to say it was Johnny Hart, but you correct me. It could have been Schultz, but it's a good story either way. But I think it was Hart. He would get together once a month and play cards with these dudes, right, with his friends. And every time he got together with his friends to play cards, everybody would go, "Hey, I got this great idea for a strip. I got a great idea for a strip. Oh, you know what you should do? I got this great idea for a strip." And he would have to say, "You know what, you guys? I do one thing well in my life, and just let me do it." You know, and I thought that was such a great thing because, you know, as artists or even cartoonists or whatever, people would always go, "Oh, you know, I got this great idea for, you know, hey, what if you guys did this? You know, it'd be great if you're like, dude, this is what I do. Just let me do it. You do what you do. Just give me my space in this one little area." You know, everybody's got great ideas. I get that. But when you're doing a strip or something, it's like, this is my personal vision. It's the one thing that I can do pretty well. So just let me do it. And I just thought that was such a great story. I'm pretty sure it was Johnny Hart that I read that about. But I thought that was really great because I think we all sort of experienced that on some level, right?
Sure.
Like, you know, I'm sure you're gonna, you know, you hear it whenever you know you're working on Batman or whatever. You know, you guys should do with Batman. Wouldn't it be cool if you're just like, you know what, just read it. Let me.
Well, you know, Aaron, that reminds me of when I go to my doctor and I go, "I got this great idea for a surgical procedure," and she's like, "Just give me my space. This is my thing. You go do your thing." And I'm like, "Look, I've been practicing on a pig. You don't want to hear it? Whatever. I'm out."
Just bend over, Andy, and relax. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Well,
that's why I have a female doctor. Small hands.
Well, you know, the same thing kind of when I was in.
Sorry. You think I'm kidding?
When I was in school, I would come back for the summer, right? And, you know, I'd go to the gym and work out, and there was guys that I knew, right? And the thing I would inevitably get from these guys was, yeah, I think I could direct a film. I've got these ideas and you start listening to this crap and you're like, dude, you just don't walk in, stand behind a camera and create a masterpiece. It's not how it works. And I would get so irritated because it would whenever somebody would say, oh yeah, I could do that. I could direct, or I could do this, or I could do that. You're kind of like, you're minimizing the amount of work that goes into getting good enough to actually be able to do this by simply saying, oh, I got this great idea. Wouldn't it be great if you did this? Gee, why didn't I think of that? I've only been doing this for 35 years. Thank you so much.
Right.
I never thought of that,
Yeah.
And I know that makes me sound like a little, grumpy old man on the porch, but there is sort of that kind of, you don't go up like Andy said, you don't go to a doctor and say, you know what, I think you should do it this way. Or, to an electrician, you sure you know what you're doing there? Here, I would hook that wire over there, But
I'm the polar opposite. I actually listen to everybody. I listen to them, and no, if the idea is good, it's good. Like there's some profound shit that'll come from the unexpected place. It's like the Good Will Hunting sort of aspect. There are some people that may be, for like using Good Will Hunting, they may be a janitor, but they have a propensity for storytelling and just didn't have the avenue in which to do it. So but there are some really dumb ideas.
They say everybody has one good story.
That's true.
Looking at this BC cartoon, it really highlights some of the great aspects of Johnny Hart's cartooning. This is just one example, and yet look at the sense of depth. He's got a natural, very organic inking and drawing style, and yet there's a great sense of depth, particularly in that last panel. Just a few simple lines, an arc, 2 arcs, 3 arcs, and then we've got 3 levels of depth. Same thing here on the first panel, where we've got the initial frontal plane of the girl and BC and the tombstone, or not the tombstone, but the doctor's sign, whatever you want to call it. And he just throws a little squiggle behind there to show a mountain behind it.
Yeah,
which adds another level of depth, and birds in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what makes them pop and makes the 2 characters stand out from each other is the only black on the page, solid black, is him,
right?
And then there's a zipatone pattern on her. So they are the 2 things that aren't in any part of the composition. Mm-hmm. So they stand out. So there's no blacks and there's no zipatone anywhere else in the piece. So there is a lot of, like you said, depth, but done very simplistic,
And here's the other thing that's missing from comics today, is the air, the amount of air in the balloons.
Yeah.
Look at that space. I love that. It makes it so simple and easy to read. Your eyes focus on it. And you look at comic books today, and those balloons are, they're arcing right around the I and the A and the C and the period, and they're arcing up to the D, and they're almost touching it. And it almost feels like you're crowding the thought. You're crowding the concept. And yet these guys understood about giving air around the words.
Because also they were lettering their own books. They were lettering their own strips.
Yeah.
So each one of the lettering style was uniquely unto the artist themselves. So you've got different lettering styles and balloon styles and all kinds of stuff that went with the whole artistic expression. So like I know, Graham, you like the one-stop shop. You like the artists that do everything. These guys literally did.
Yeah.
They were lettering and everything. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, going back to something you guys were talking about a minute ago, the amount of depth. There's a really good book out there called The Visual Story by a guy named Bruce Block. And he has a whole chapter on something that he calls depth cues. And you guys touched on a couple of them, right? So value is one of them. Overlap is another one.
Yep.
Scale. Putting one like a ball next to a ball. There's atmospheric perspective. things like that. But it's kind of cool. I think there's like 7 of them that they talk about in the book. But here, Johnny Hart is implementing 3 or 4 of them. But so what's the word? Pithiness, something that I could use. There's a pithiness to his work that betrays its genius.
Yes, it looks so simple, and yet everything it has been long worked out.
Yes,
it's been worked out over many, many years, and it looks so simple. Even look at the shape of his boxes. I have 2 Johnny Hart's originals hanging in my studio that were given to me by Johnny Hart.
That's awesome.
And
Wow.
the boxes are blue lined, and then he hand does it around it.
Oh,
and so it gives it that organic look.
Makes it feel cavemanish.
Yeah. Well, if they were straight and and ruled, it would go against the organic drawing of everything else that's there.
Yeah.
It would stand out. It really would.
Yep. It'd feel artificial, like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
yeah, no, that's a great one. Well, the thing I loved about these guys, and I'm sure you all experienced it too, is growing up, you'd see interviews with these guys on TV, and the interviewer would always, of course, be like, "Well, can you draw the character?" And they would just whip out a Sharpie,
Right.
and that piece of paper, that big pad, and they just be like, "Do-do-do-do-do," and it's done. And as a kid, that just blew my mind.
Did you ever see?
I'll never be able to do that, and it's just it was just mind blowing. I loved it.
Have you ever seen there's a video of it somewhere where they get these guys like Chester Gould and like a bunch of these other key cartoonists to draw a portrait of their character with a blindfold on, and then you see, and like some of them are so freaking accurate, but you could tell it. Some of them are a series of marks that resemble it, but they're kind of slid. The
more realistic the artist, the harder it was.
Yes.
Because I had to do that at NCS Reuben Awards. They did one of those things. So they blindfolded me, and that was when I was working on Rex Morgan. And they said, okay, you have to draw Rex Morgan blindfolded. And I'm like, okay, first I did it, unblindfolded. And then they blindfolded me, and I got to do it. And I'm like, ah, shit, because it's sort of a realistic looking character. And it was a nightmare.
I bet.
That would be a
man.
Professionals episode is for us to draw stuff blindfolded.
Blindfolded, boy, that would not be entertaining.
That would be so fun.
It would be funny.
Oh, good Lord.
It would be entertaining.
We can get those blindfolds.
The result might be horrible.
All right, Fragga Boom, I'm going to share your stream, Fragga.
Do it.
Share your screen. Here it comes.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Chick Young's Blondie.
Chick Young's Blondie.
Yeah.
Love the drawing and the ink style on this.
Yeah, there was just a level of. I mean, first off, they were funny gags. It's from the beginning days of strips. From what I recalled, there was a lot of famous people assisted him, including Alex Raymond. All the characters. I mean. Especially Dagwood, like when you're a kid and you're reading this stuff, there's what do you call it? Where you kind of see yourself in some of the characters.
You project.
What's that? Project. Yeah, project. Yeah. There was a lot of that. Of course, like when I was a kid, I didn't actually get to see the Chick Young stuff. I saw the ghosts, or not the ghosts, but the whoever came in afterwards.
Stan
Drake did it at one point.
There you go. But seeing this is one of the fun things about the strips that are like go way back that are still running, because I believe Blondie's still running now, is like you were talking about earlier with Popeye, Graham. When you go back to the source, it's like I talk about this. And I'm going to disparage a restaurant right now, but I used to go to Chili's like 10 years ago, and you get fajitas, and it was like tasty, good meat, good everything. You go there now, and it's like the sponge, the chicken flavored sponge and steak flavored sponge. It's like it's not what it was. It's like it's been
advertising.
Yeah, it's been good. It's been cost reduced. They did, they say the original McDonald's burger was more like the In-N-Out burger of today.
Right. Sure.
When I go and I look at this stuff, it's so fucking good. It's so pure. It hasn't been diluted. Like there was if you guys ever saw there was a documentary about the Matrix after the Matrix came out, and Keanu Reeves was talking about this book called Stimuli Stimulacra, and he was talking about how certain ideas, and he used Jesus as an example, but he said like Jesus was a man, he walked the earth, and like over time, now he's a bobblehead on somebody's windshield, buddy Jesus bobbling their head.
Yeah.
And like there's been this complete distillation over time of an idea. I feel like as much as I liked Blondie as a kid, the old stuff is much, much better.
Yeah.
Much better.
Well, a lot of these things become what I call white bread. They lose the edge that made them interesting because they're trying to appeal to a broader audience as opposed to what made them interesting in the first place. I mean, Blondie, when the strip first came out, she was a flapper girl.
Yeah.
Because it came out in the 1920s, and Dagwood, I think, was unemployed because it was during the Depression, and so she was the breadwinner. And it was and she came from she either came from money or I can't remember what it was, but that's an entirely different dynamic than this kind of domesticated story that you get today.
Wow, look at that.
She was a sexy little thing too.
Oh yeah,
ink line. Look at those ink lines, man.
Yeah, that's
just so nice.
They're great. They're great. I mean, that's
something as simple as this stanchion on the post going down the stairs. It's not just a horizontal post. It has features to it.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I read the gag in that last panel, and it cracked me up because it's so simple, but it's
Is the shadow on the post to show that time has lapsed? Because the Zipatone shadows are gone.
It might have popped. I don't know. Yeah, maybe, or it popped off.
It could have came off.
Well, I doubt it came off because it would have been yellowed.
It's two different strips, so maybe on one of them it
did.
did.
Oh, it's two different.
Yeah, it's two strips, but it's probably like, I mean, this is pre-TV, but a lot of times sitcoms, I Love Lucy, all those, those sitcoms, they play off like every episode's in the living room. Every episode is like in a stairwell or whatever. I think this is maybe his version of it.
The one thing that always stood out to me, even as a kid reading the strip, was I'd always go, how does a doofus like Dagwood end up with a babe like Blondie?
I know.
Hey, he's got that sweet Wolverine hair. What do you want?
That's true.
Well, too, a sandwich came out of it and a band. So
that's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, he was hung like a Dagwood, so
Oh, damn.
There you go.
Back to food euphemisms.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
All right, Mr. Nolan.
You call it what you want.
That's true. Here comes Graham's next one.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We were waiting for. Hey, zoom in on that airplane.
God, Lord have mercy. That's beautiful.
I
What
know.
airplane is that?
There you
Just
go.
a too.
Yeah.
That's a Grumman Avenger. That is a TPF Avenger.
How do they have?
Long Island? By the
Do they
Grumman
have?
Corporation.
What does their morgue look like? You know what I'm saying? Like, do they just have pictures on pictures of these things?
Oh yeah, they're what do we call them? Swipe files.
The morgue, or I've heard them called morgues.
Yeah, morgues. Well, I'll tell you, the thing with Roy Crane is that when he created Buzz Sawyer, he actually worked with the Department of the Navy. And they sent him reference, and he actually went on ships and was able to take photographs.
Wow.
He has letters from Admiralty. All this stuff is archived at Syracuse University.
Wow.
Including all these originals, or most of the originals that he still owned. he gifted to Syracuse University. So you can make an appointment and go see this stuff, and they'll bring it out in boxes, and you can hold
Have
it.
you?
I got pictures of myself holding original.
Chills, man.
Yeah.
Jusco has too. I tried when I was up there. I actually contacted him, Graham.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago when we were going up, and unfortunately because of COVID, they're not doing it yet.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Graham, can you blow up that first panel again? Is that duotone shade
Yes.
this is drawn on?
Oh, it's duotone.
Yeah.
It's duotone,
Yeah.
it's not zipatone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's duotone. That's the way Roy Crane worked with, through most of his career.
Wow.
When I did Monster Island, that
too.
was my love letter to Roy Crane, and I did that whole thing in duotone too.
So was he doing this daily?
Oh yeah,
Holy shit.
yeah.
He probably envied the BC guy or Beetle Bailey or whatever. Yeah.
Look at that
Well,
freaking that middle panel.
He's got the dive bombers too. You see? So you got the Dauntless. See that right up there? So you got dive
I love
bombers
the
and
water.
torpedo bombers. It's
The
freaking-
water splashing into the word balloon.
Mm-hmm.
That is awesome.
Yes,
Oh,
and the words.
Perfect.
This is
Yeah.
sweet. This is
Yeah.
good.
You know,
man.
Can you scroll back up to that word balloon? I got to take a screenshot of that. I'm
one
stealing
here?
that.
We're
Yeah,
going down.
thanks, dude. I stole that. Thank you.
Take
That is
another one because
awesome.
I think I had my cursor.
No, I got it. I
You
got
got
it.
it? Okay.
Yeah, I got it. It's just a reminder that I love that.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And here's the other thing that, see this here, BAM? These sound effects didn't exist until Roy Crane created them.
Wow.
Really?
Whoa.
Speedline,
He was the first to BAM.
these type of archetypes that we celebrate in cartooning, many of them were created by Roy Crane. He is the father of the adventure strip. And that's why the first episode of The Storytellers was Roy Crane, because I had to start with the beginning. I had to start with the guy who started it all and who created, the burst when somebody punches somebody in the jaw and you see a star and stuff like that.
Yeah. Roy Crane. Dude, I love the razor blade work on the bullets hitting the water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
1941.
Well, when you had it shrunk down, right, to where we could see all the strips, that water in that first panel that we're looking at now, at that size, just looks like a photograph.
Yeah.
It just looks like a black and white photograph.
Mm.
Yep.
It is done so well. I mean, the whole panel really does when you think about it.
I said to Michael Golden, because you look at how he drew this Dauntless and the smoke and all these other planes here, the damage to this plane, the splash, all that kind of stuff, and then you look at Sweeney here with the dot eyes and the cartooniness of him. I said to Michael, I said, you're a modern day Roy Crane, because all the accoutrements, all the surroundings and stuff like that, Michael Golden does is very realistic. Like when he did the NAM, all that shit is so dead on, and yet the characters are so exaggerated and cartoony.
Yeah,
and he just said, I don't know what to say. That's one of the greatest compliments, because he didn't think of it that way, but it's so true.
Yeah, no, I mean it's dead on. And if talk about Golden real quick, came out this week. They just re-released the G.I. Joe #2 that Mike did. They just re-released it.
Throw up Dan on the main.
Yeah, I will. I see it. Hold on. Let me get him here. I know. I hate you for owning that.
That's
book, right?
Oh my goodness!
Book, right?
Where'd you get that?
It's IDW put this out. It was like their artist editions, except they call it the portfolio edition. So
that's not an original.
Oh God! Can you imagine? I'll tell you who owns the original, the entire story, and you'll be very sad. So this is without lettering, and on the back sides are with lettering.
Oh wow!
Oh,
there is an individual that owns the entire story, and his name is Jim Lee.
that's what I thought. Jim Lee.
Jim Lee owns the entire yearbook number 2, and that's how Scott Dunbier was able to do this.
Well, he's got a few extra bucks, so why not?
Just a couple.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, they just
Country
put out
Club.
that yearbook number 2 this week. So if you don't have it, you can go get it.
Did they recolor it, or is it as
Nope.
was?
It's flat color. The only difference is it's not newsprint. It's the slicker. It's white. The paper's nice and white. It's not overdone. The colors are the
Interesting.
exact same. They're just brighter since it's not on newsprint. So,
Yeah.
but it's basically a facsimile edition. It's got everything that the original has. So
And it doesn't suffer the. We need to come up with a term for it, but I think it was Graham that brought up this point again, that the older guys would work for the process. They knew that if they put this shade of orange down as a guide because of the process of print, that they'd get a brown. They knew that, right? And we got all these sort of painterly looking things on newsprint, and then they go and they reprint them on white gloss paper, and they're working off of the original codes, and the shit's garish,
Mm-hmm.
because
Because it's not being absorbed by the paper, which is what they intended.
Yeah. It's what they worked for, what they knew, but it didn't translate over. So I'm always wary of getting reprints, and some are good. There's some that are good, but there's some out there, like all the Barry Windsor Smith stuff looks like shit on these clean reprints because his colors don't translate. They translate perfectly with newsprint, but not on the other paper. So anyhow, I digress.
Art to bear.
All right. Well, this strip here changed my life. It gave me insight that I never knew I even could have.
Can you share stone tablets?
Are you seeing this?
I'm pulling it up. I see it. I'm just curious if you're joking or not.
Is this the Dead Sea Scrolls?
Oh, Kathy.
No, this is Kathy by Kathy Geiswipe. This strip, it gave me insight on what women want and what women think, and it actually just changed my view on the entire universe. It did not. This is.
As I say, you didn't learn a thing.
Yeah, this is horrible. Look at Kathy. This is just disgusting.
Oh, come on, Art. That's cartooning at its finest.
No, this is cartooning at its finest.
Oh yeah, Dennis the Menace.
And Ketchum.
Yeah, the original
Ketchum's-
troublemaker. Yeah.
Dude, his ink line, to me, is what Klaus looked at for some inspiration. I could be wrong, but that's the sense I get.
Yeah, the heavy under stroke, like brush strokes under like chins, back of heads, under like her arm here.
Yeah.
Some of the like basic inking principles is thick to thin on the dad's arm here. Yeah, there's some killer stuff in here, and it's just really clean. And also, you talk to any or hear any of the old Disney animators, and they all bring up Hank Ketchum. And if you look at like, if you think about 101 Dalmatians and the style of that, like you look at this strip and you see it, man.
You know what I see a lot, and I don't know what came first, but UPA. Remember the UPA style, the animation style?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, dude. I'm like, I wonder if they were influenced as well.
Yeah, this is a great scan too, so you can see some of the brush strokes in it. I look for good versions, but there's not a lot, so you can see the brush strokes.
I think it was inked with a pen.
Well, there's brush strokes.
Yeah, there's brush and pen.
Well, yeah, I know for the blacks, but I'm talking for like the
look at her
stuff,
legs.
like
Look at her legs and feet. That's a pen.
That's a pen.
That's a pen, but like, unless he's doubling up some of these lines, or able to really push down with the pen, these are pretty damn thick lines.
But have you ever used it? Have you ever used a Gillot 290? A 290 gets you a thick brush type line.
Oh yeah, I used to use it a lot exclusively when I inked Dan Jurgens.
Yeah. Because the guy that's been drawing Dennis the Menace for like the past 30 years or so, Marcus Hamilton, lives right here in town. And
He's doing the daily, right? Because
he does the daily. Yeah,
Ron
Marcus
Ferdinand
does
does the Sunday.
Yeah.
Hey,
Marcus
hey,
does
Andy,
the
can you share my screen real quick?
Hey, before you do that, Andy, I just want to point out one of the great things that I love about these old cartoonists is look at Dennis and look at his feet and look at the perspective on the feet. That how well grounded that figure is standing there.
And the feet are kind of toed in a little bit,
a little bit, and the circular lines of the socks. I guess I'm assuming that's what they are. But that describe the tubular nature of the lower part of the leg is so great. Love that.
Yeah, this is good stuff. And then I also just like the humor of it. Like, I mean, he really is just trouble, Yeah. And I think there's part of the character that I've always liked. I like the slingshot in the back pocket. I like the rolled up comic book in the back pocket, that kind of stuff.
And that TV.
All these character designs are great. Like these kids.
That's some Toth style TV right there.
Dude, that TV, I just love how he didn't fill the whole side in black. Yeah. And then I love the reflection underneath the thing on top of the TV, the plant or whatever. Just gorgeous.
I just think this stuff is it's a work of art to me. And
pure style.
As an inker, I look at this stuff and I find a lot of inspiration in it. Just the spontaneity of the movement, and then just the thick and thin movement, because most of my style is all based on like these really bold like thins and thicks, and they're all throughout this guy's work.
Yep.
Tom Horvitz in the chat said that Dennis the Menace started in 51. So you had to have been I mean pretty old.
5, 10.
Yeah, I was just breaking into the industry at that point.
If you share my screen real quick, and we'll go right back to arts, but this is the UPA. Yeah. This is the UPA art style that I was talking about. This and it was very prominent. I think around the same time.
Yeah, in the 1950s.
Yeah. So I wonder. That's why I'm wondering. Like, well, this is a very much based on the UPA style. Here's some more of the UPA style. 1955 UPA. I wonder if it's like a chicken or the egg situation.
Yeah, who knows?
What does UPA stand for?
I don't know.
United
Picture Artists.
Something.
Yeah.
Don't know. What's up, Teen Sensation? It's your turn.
Right.
Wait. Art's not done, man.
Art's not done. I'm sorry. Let me share your screen.
I didn't want to hijack. I just wanted to supplement.
So do you guys see this one now? This strip?
Yeah.
Up in the garage?
The girl?
So this always cracks me up because exactly how my dad's garage was, and my uncle's garage, and everything. There was always the sexy girl calendar there, and I just like he's Dennis is explaining to the other kid they're talking about football.
Great, man, that's great.
Well, I love the measurements, though. I mean, it's normally 36, 24, 36 is like the ultimate, right? But they went right to 40.
40, 23. That ratio, dude, my goodness.
Here's a great art thing. Look at the back. Look at the wrinkles on the back leg of the neighbor and the hidden line that he did. Yeah, Mr. Wilson, and the hidden line that he did for the leg in front of it.
Yeah. So Dennis
just stop.
And the signature looks like it's part of the foliage. That it's a complete panel. There's so much storytelling in this.
And the black pants of the father to define the back edge of the neighbor's leg.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that car is perfect. It's a cartoon car. It's so killer. I love it, man. But yeah, so Dennis the Menace, man.
I like the ink can in the background.
That's what I want, an oil can like that.
An oil can. Yeah, not ink can.
I actually, my wife asked me what I wanted for Father's Day, and that's what I told her that's what I wanted.
I used to have many of those.
I know, but
we used to do our bike chains with those.
Yeah, every manly garage needs one of those.
Yeah,
you could get it off eBay probably.
No.
All right, Billy, I'm going to share your screen.
All right, here we go. I got to go with Miss Fury.
Oh, yeah.
Harvey Mills.
This is just a pitch. This is crass commercialism.
I can't make it bigger. Sorry. But just look at that. I mean, she wrote, lettered, penciled, inked, colored the entire strip. And I mean, this illustration right here, the one of her getting dressed, which I did an homage cover, a variant. This is 1944.
And this is in the newspaper?
Yeah. Look how freaking badass it is. Say, Mr. Editor, have you got time to look at me for a few minutes? And I just love, like, there's just so much beating that, people fighting. Her women are so beautiful and elegant, sexy, and she's always this guy's about to throw a knife and hit her in the back with a knife. I mean, I just love her storytelling. I love her, how she grew as an artist too, from the very first issues in 1941, and this is 3 years later. But just dynamite, man, and it really inspired me. I fell in love with this character, and just visually, and Tarpon Mills, this is Gary Hale. This is her ex-husband, fighting with some gangsters here, and this guy's a bad dude. This guy right here, he's a doctor, a mad scientist, and he built this formula, created this formula that melts animals. It's going to be a weapon being used, and they show a cat being dipped into it and just burning to death and disintegrating. Then he lights a cat on fire and throws this cat into the jungle. They're in Brazil fighting Nazis. And it was distracted by this burning cat, and this poor cat's burning on fire. I didn't look those things up. I should have. But there was fight. She always had her, showing the little leg here, and she's always fighting in her lingerie. And this is all by a woman, And there was, no F's given, man.
Isn't this a precursor to Catwoman too? Like,
if you look at the Miss Fury costume, it totally came out in. Miss Fury debuted on April 6, 1941, and Catwoman debuted in 1939, but she was just a woman in an elegant dress with a cat mask, like a real cat mask. She didn't see her again till 43, and then she didn't have the costume with the green, that really gorgeous purple and green costume with the slit and everything, and the ears till 47. So they basically just ripped off Miss Fury for sure.
Oh wow! And
she's fantastic. She really is. And yes, I do have Dynamite has an Indiegogo right now for Miss Fury Joy Division, which is live, which is in demand.
There you go.
But just what an influence, and how she finally got an honorary Eisner Award 2 years ago. At Comic-Con, it was an Eisner or Hall of Fame award, and because she's so largely forgotten in the history of strips and comics and things like that.
What's her name? I don't remember.
June Tarpe Mills.
Okay.
So Tarpe Mills she went by, which was her middle name because it sounded like a man, because they wouldn't have taken a female cartoonist serious enough. But there's so much great stuff, Nazis and burning up. And this dude right here was going to dip her baby, not her baby, but a baby who she ended up adopting, was going to drop this baby in this vat of acid. Crazy. Crazy.
The good old days.
Yeah. And then after the war, she kept gutting, she started putting women in bikinis, stuff like that. She got censored because during the war, believe it or not, the whole world was more liberal towards all types of art and creativity. And I guess, these soldiers are going off to war. They don't know if they're going to come home. So they don't want to, they don't want to hold back. And then of course, after the war, the post-war, is when we started moving, with Truman towards Eisenhower, got really conservative. And they basically shut her down because she wouldn't convert. She wouldn't convert to their or drop down to their level of less risqueness to it.
I'm sensing a League of Their Own kind of comic strip idea, where all the men go off to the war, all the cartoon guys, and then the women come in and start drawing the comic strips, and then when the men come back, they kick them all out.
Could be. Well, she was going before the war.
Sales go back up. Oh,
She was going before the war, and yeah, just she was canceled. She was a victim of cancel culture.
Oh,
Early cancel culture.
Early cancel culture. Crazy.
all right. Well,
crazy.
So my next one is not one I read as a kid, but I love this guy's artwork so much. Leonard Starr.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh, yeah.
I
This
just
is
love
like
the, I
Dick
love the
Giordano,
way
man.
yeah. I love, I think one of the biggest things I love really is I love the way he does his wrinkles in clothing. It's such a, it's a weird thing, I guess, but I really admire, because I don't think I do wrinkles that well. So I admire people that do really good, simplistic wrinkles in clothing.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously his faces are all unique. And, you know, once again, I mean, this is just, it's just gorgeous. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a few collections of it. And
It's so clear.
yeah, it's clear. I like the graphicness of the suits. You know, when he does black, it's basically black with just a little highlight, not much. And then sometimes he'll just do the full knockout, which I totally love that stuff. So yeah, I thought this was a really nice example.
What year was that?
Jacket in the last panel. Wow, look at the blacks on that. Yeah.
This was it's really hard to make out.
It's like a 60s, right? It's got to be a 60s.
That's my guess.
Let me just
Fire
see if I
hairstyle
can-
and stuff.
It looks like 68, maybe
65?
66 maybe.
65, something like that, but
Yeah.
it's 60s.
Exceptional.
So,
It's really
but I mean,
nice.
the wrinkles in this woman's clothing right here, just
Is there dry brush with that, or he just like gradations of the ink?
it's just feathered. I think. I don't think
Yeah.
there's any dry brush.
Stunning.
It's the scan. Unfortunately, I got it blown up. Probably bigger than I should, but.
I would love to ink like this, man. Just get just a fat brush, because it's so easy, those blacks and the suits and stuff like that, to do with the brush. You know, you just kind of throw enough detail in there to show movement and energy. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and you nailed it. Like, I can ink stuff kind of this way, but penciling, like, I wouldn't really have that much of an idea on penciling a dress like that for somebody else. I could pencil it for me to ink, but if I didn't know who the inker was, and it was like, oh, I got to figure this out so they don't screw it up.
Yeah, because they would just outline the black shapes, but those are brush strokes. You know,
Right.
what I mean? Those are full on brush strokes. That's why they have the energy. Like, even though that, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth panel where she's walking away, those are just really beefy brush strokes.
Yeah,
Well,
the
like
way
going back to like Milton Caniff and Ramita Senior and stuff, they were using the big fat number 4 brushes where you could really load it up. You could get the fine hair point, but then you could just slam it down to get one of those wrinkles in that girl's dress or woman's dress.
for penciling, like you're talking about, the best way to do it, I mean, digitally you can do it with a digital brush, but if you go and if you do your layouts on paper and you block those shapes in with a brush, when you go to either light box or do whatever, you know where those shapes are for the ink.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I love this tree, like in the 6th panel, just a hint of this tree, the little whites on it and stuff, it out from the shadows.
That plant in the last one.
And the plant's great, but then on this card, the nice hidden line, because there's no ink line for the top of that card.
Oh shit! I can't see that, but
yeah. Can you zoom in more? Can you zoom in more?
Yeah.
Whoa, there you go.
It's getting a little fuzzy, but see, there's no ink line.
Oh yeah,
totally hidden.
It's awesome.
Just love it. So yeah, so that's my next.
I like that he didn't want to draw the cars, so he just figured out ways of not showing a complete car.
Yeah,
it works.
Yeah.
It tells the story.
Totally. These cast shadows are great too on him, his hands, and So
this is the style I actually learned how to ink, like just looking at Giordano and these guys of the time. I still have part of that in my DNA.
Yep. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna I don't have examples, but let me.
Look at the negative space around the word balloons, so that you're focused on the storytelling and and the dialogue without it being conflicting or fighting against each other either. Like the scene where they're getting in the taxi here. There's no sense of buildings or windows or anything behind that because it's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really
once again that goes back
and their interaction and their dialogue. Now, here you've got in the last panel, you've got all this background stuff. You got walls, you got lamps, and all that. But the walls still function as negative space, and it's not crowding the narrative.
And cropping out the lamp like he did right on the border there.
Yeah,
it's detail, but it's not focused detail. It's not like it's, hey, look at me.
Right.
It's there, but it's not overly, even compositionally, it's not overly rendered, and it's not overly like noticeable.
Right. Where the dude's getting punched in the second tier, there's no background behind that because there's no necessary. You're focusing on the guy getting punched, so you don't.
Well, I think that's one of the things that I really like about this stuff is first panel. I'm like, all right, I'm going to set the scene. I'm going to establish it, background it, just set it. Second
like John
panel,
Byrne.
Yep.
Right. That I would often say. I said that on a stream a couple of days ago on my morning thing. I was showing those two Byrne projects, and I said, Byrne growing up, I liked, one of the ways he was able to do 3 to 4 books a month was he'd establish a scene, and then he'd be like, I don't need to draw any backgrounds. I already established it. Scene change, establish the scene.
Right.
Or he'll put something in the background as an anchor for choreography,
Right.
so you get a sense of where you are.
Right.
Exactly.
And Tom brings up a good point. Tom brings up a good point in chat about that this is a Sunday, so there was consideration for color.
Oh, absolutely.
True.
Yeah.
True. So so that's that one. And then I, just piggybacking on that real quick. I mean, I love Stan Drake and his Juliet Jones stuff. So
you can't say Leonard Starr without saying Stan Drake.
Mm-hmm. I mean, talk about, and then we'll move on, but the primer for Neil's inking style,
Oh yeah.
Right there. Just love it.
They work for the same ad agency.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So, I can't remember the name of it.
Was it Cushing? Something Cushing?
It was Continuity.
No, Continuity. Yeah, that's Neil's. I can't remember the name of it. But
was it Young and Rubicam
and Leonard and Neil all worked for that same.
No, so is it the last round? Starting back with Aaron?
Yeah.
So Aaron, what you got?
Load it up, buddy.
Oh, I see it. I got it. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't have to go there.
This is not a Alex Raymond one, but
no,
it's Mac.
The reason I bring up because Alex Raymond is obviously too easy of a choice.
Yeah.
But when I was at Wizard World Con back when they were actually almost okay conventions before they became complete garbage waste of time. Just saying. I was at a show in Philadelphia, and I want to say it was Scott Dunbier that had a Mac Rayboy Flash Gordon strip original. And it had a great. This isn't it, but the last panel had a great picture of Dale and Flash close-ups, and they were just beautiful. And wanted, I don't know, $650 for it, which I was just kind of breaking in at the time, so I didn't have that kind of money. Oh my gosh, I regret it so much because Mac Rayboy was one of my favorite artists, comic book artists back in the 40s. And when after he did Captain Marvel Jr., he finally got on, the strips and everything. And he stayed on, I think, Flash Gordon for like well over a decade, into the 50s.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, just look at the faces. I mean,
that inspired Dave Smith, Dave Stevens too. You could tell. That
Totally.
Man, I'm looking at that tech in the first panel, man.
Yeah.
The lensing too. There's lens distortion, slight lens distortion towards the foreground.
Well, yeah, there's just the ridiculous amount of detail. It's just, it's like, gee, many Christmas. I mean, he did not blow through this strip. You know what I mean? It's like,
Can you blow that up, Aaron?
Can I?
If you,
Let's see. Yeah, let me see what I can do here.
There you go.
It's a little soft.
Yeah, you get it.
A little Clark Gable looking dude.
I was going to say that's got to be Clark Gable, right?
Or Errol Flynn. Look at this guy over here.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
it could be Errol Flynn.
Oh yeah, the big ears and stuff. Very Clark Gable.
Yeah, very Clark Gable. It's definitely Gable. It's definitely.
Yeah. But there was
bags under the eyes too.
this is clearly a Sunday strip, but the one that Gunbeer had was just it was 2 levels, so it had to have been a Sunday, right? If it had 2 tiers on it. But yeah, it had a big rocket ship on the first panel, and all shiny and stuff. But the clothes, I just remember the faces were so freaking awesome. It was like, oh, I wanted to get that so bad. But he also had off topic. He also had a Jose Gonzalez Vampirella splash that I wanted to get my.
Oh, wow.
And I got neither. So, but I just, I love Alex Raymond's stuff, but Mac Rayboy, I just thought was terrific. Just his, you didn't see, I guess you did in the strips a little bit, but he was doing this kind of work in comics when he was doing, and it's like no one was doing stuff like that for the most part, especially in comic books. But like we talked about before, comic books were sort of these guys were using as a springboard to get a daily strip, right? Because that's where all the money was, right? So I guess when you're getting paid the amount of money these dudes were to do this stuff, you brought it. Mm-hmm. The dude could definitely draw, man.
Golly.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. And you got to figure the size of these things too. I'm sure that obviously was smaller than what Hal Foster was doing, but it was still huge because Hal was working, as a few of us know from having that book. Hal was working huge.
That barn door, you mean?
That barn door of a book, yeah.
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 Once again,
man, that is.
You think about the page rates these guys were getting for doing this material, and it was like you could be a little indulgent because you're getting paid so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't a rush job.
That's all he did. That's what he did for the week. That was his week's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine that's your job? Oh, we need you to draw this one strip, huge. Okay, what else am I supposed to do? No, man, that's it. What?
1 page a week, you guys. 1 page a week.
No, that's like a panel a day.
Think about what you had to do to get it to the syndicate too. You had to package that stuff up, this gigantic piece of board, and ship it to the syndicate to photograph it. You weren't going to get it back because they treated it as like coffee blotter.
Right.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah. There's stories at King Features that, of guys that spilled coffee and they'd grab an Alex Raymond original and just, dab it all up.
It hurts the heart.
Yep.
Man,
it's amazing.
I talked to this
You're not
animator.
my new tie. Give me that Hal Foster strip to wipe this crap up. This tie's brand new.
I talked to an animator a couple years back at a convention, and he worked for the Flesher Studios. And he said they were wiping off animation cells and reusing them.
Yeah.
That's like, oh my God.
Like
they did that in the
expense
60s too because it was cutting costs.
That was the expense, right? They had to save. What did they send it? A penny? How much do you think those things cost a sheet?
Nothing.
But
they couldn't get it
too, right?
It was because of the war, right? Because they couldn't get the acetate, so they had to wash them. They not that they were expensive; they couldn't get them.
Yeah, it's hard to think. Imagine those terms, but there was Golden Age books. You get to about 1944, 45. They had 1 staple in them because they couldn't do 2 staples because the metal was going to the war effort.
Wow.
They did 1 staple just right in the middle of the spine.
I got books that are
really
like that. Yep. Now, right around the end of the war, about 1944 and to 45, you'd find comic books that they had one staple in the middle, and that's it.
Wow.
That's all you need. One staple.
As long as it holds.
That's what she said.
Nice.
Right, Boom.
Thank you.
We're heading over to the Okefenokee Swamp with Kelly's Pogo.
That was one of mine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, man. It's good.
I remember being very attracted to this strip when I was a kid. There was something about Walt Kelly's line that everything had volume, everything you could reach in and pick it up. But there's the simplicity of the characters, but then every now and then, like in the bottom row there, you see with those characters, super detailed. It's almost like Sam Keith before Sam Keith. Simple in spots and very dense with detail. I also love the way he portrays forest and the swamp itself. You don't see too many examples of it here, but a lot of mushrooms, a lot of little foliage and brush and those sort of things. I just loved Pogo. I have a bunch of the collections. Obviously, there was a bit of political stuff, which, unlike I think it was Andy or somebody talking about it was maybe Art. Somebody's talking about the political stuff in the strip was not over their head. This stuff was completely over my head. The political stuff, the sort of Animal Farm nature of it all. I just loved it. It hit me in a spot where if I didn't understand it, that was fine, because the juicy, plump. I got so many adjectives for his line quality.
Well, you know what? For me, like, these characters are real. Like, it's one of those, like, he's so good at it. The characters are so well defined, and the drawings are so warm, and they just seem real. Like they're real people. Like, it's weird to say, but it really feels tangible. It feels real.
Yeah, and
that's like the difference between this and like Dennis the Menace. Dennis the Menace is to me just such more graphic sense. Yeah, a sensibility of the composition, the way he spotted blacks and things like that. Whereas, like Dan said, with this, the volume that he created with the inks makes you feel like you could reach in and grab one of them.
Yeah,
but I don't get that sense with like Dennis the Menace.
There's a fluffy nature to it too. Going back to what Graham was saying about BC, look at how the lines for the borders are done by hand. But he's also look at what even in the first panel or the second to last panel. Look how the word balloons
have a thick on them.
Have a thick to thin. That crunch of him taking off the pants in the second to last panel, how it overlaps a little bit. Sorry, no. That's how
what's going on there, really.
Who knows? I love the pants on the kangaroo kicking himself. They're just the little circles. It's just so good, but it's almost like a marshmallowy. I don't know how to explain it, but there's this sort of plushness to it.
The great thing about Walt Kelly's stuff was that it almost felt like you were like reading a Disney comic, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I mean? It had that sort of, these were like animated characters that you like. Weren't these in a movie? Didn't I see this? It feels like that, but there's more. It's more sophisticated than that, because he's not just. If this isn't necessarily a kid's strip in that sense, like
no.
But artistically, it kind of feels like that. And that's kind of that interesting juxtaposition between his art style, which is so charming and wonderful, and then some of the subject matter that he dealt with,
The subject matter, Wasn't his wife also a Disney animator, Shelby Kelly?
Was she?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Cool.
Walt Kelly and Shelby Kelly were both, I believe, both Disney animators at one point.
There's definitely a warmth to this, and that's what I think sucks you in.
And look at that logo too, man.
Yes, I was gonna say that the logo is fantastic.
It's very organic.
Yeah,
and the character designs are
so well.
Yeah, the character designs are amazing.
Man, the thick to thin on those word balloons and the fact that they overlap just slightly. I'm just noticing it now after all these years. It's crazy. I'm kind of feeling these a lot.
And then the use of bolds, like certain words are bolded. I didn't really see that in too many of the other strips.
There are certain strips that I read because the writing is so good and it's married to the artwork. Then there's strips that I look at because the artwork is so good, but the writing is atrocious. And I never read them. Pogo and Crazy Cat are two of the most iconic looking strips, the most iconoclastic designs of any strips, and yet to me they're both unreadable. But I love to look at both George Harriman's work and Kelly's work because it's so gorgeous to look at. But as a narrative, as a storytelling aspect, I can't read that stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, Graham, for bringing us down.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Graham. Didn't Walt Kelly do some work in animal comics in the 40s in actual comic books?
The Bigfoot stuff?
I don't know.
Don't know. That's worth looking up.
Yeah, I'm gonna look. I shall look it up. Animal comics, because there was. I don't remember who published them, but I could have swore that.
Oh. No, go ahead.
He did some work in there.
All right, Graham, I'm pulling up your screen. Here we go.
Russell Myers,
Oh, yeah.
one of my favorite cartoonists. He did Broomhilda, and he did this piece for the 72 Comic Art Convention, which is in New York City.
That thing is so hilarious.
Yeah, and it's a takeoff of the
Vampirella.
the Vampirella thing. Yeah, look at the fat roll here. I love this.
That is
So
just
great.
oozing over.
Yeah. His style. She's got like a U.S. Marine Corps tattoo on her thigh. It's just awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
I love his work. Here's a more modern version of his strip, but it's still. I mean, look at the detail he puts in here. Even today, when the comic strips are just throwaway material at best, he still puts the love into it here.
It's very graphic.
Yeah, it's clear. It's interesting. Here's one of his earlier pieces.
Oh, there you go.
Look at that.
That's cool.
That's really cool stuff. You know what that kind of looks like? That looks like a Rankin and Bass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, it sure does.
Yeah.
It totally does. I love that car.
Good call.
Yeah.
That car is so cool. And the lettering has such a nice style to it as well.
I love that cop's
There's
face
a nice
panel
bounce to it, and again, there's a beautiful sense of space around the word balloons. But when it's blown up like this, you can see this beautiful ink line.
They used that car in Blade Runner. That was the inspiration.
Dude, that second exactly that other eyeball in the nose. So good. So good.
Yep.
She kind of reminds me of that witch character from the Looney Tunes. That when she flies Broomhilda, the hairpins and shit.
Hazel
with the one wart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Love that cartoon.
Oh, this is perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good call. This is great.
Yeah, huge Russell Meyer fan.
That is very nice. I love that inking.
Yeah. Again, there's very little gray tones, but it's just great black placement.
Is he
and
British?
the one open where the open border is that leads from panel 1 to 2.
Yes.
It's a great eye. Like your eye just goes right over to that that second word balloon. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And then the other one's overlapping. I mean, it really is like it just moves your eye right through the 3 panels.
A lot of times you'll see in a three paneled strip, you'll see the middle panel will be borderless to frame the whole thing together, and he does the 2 end panels borderless, and I think it works just wonderfully.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Perfection.
Really, it is. That's really nice.
Good stuff.
All right, Art Bear.
All right. Well, here we go. Get my screen share on.
Get it on.
Get it on.
Screen Sharona.
No trickery here. Okay.
Oh.
You like the dick.
Yeah. Well, I just had to.
You knew that joke was coming.
Art is on the dick.
I'm on the dick.
Nice.
And you like the Tracy.
And I like Tracy. I like the cheek. No, I just kind of wanted to throw this out there real quick because I just think like the style of all these characters always, since I was a kid, it was really weird and odd, but strangely compelling. So, you know, most of these like just shapes of faces like the mole and Flat Top and even, you know, Dick Tracy were like iconic, like just shapes. And I dug it, but this is my real jam right here.
Oh, Charles Adams.
Yeah. So this was in, I think it was the New Yorker, and they were just like one panel. There was very rarely there would be multiple panels, and the Addams Family, before they ever were like the Addams Family TV show, they existed in comic strips, and he never called them the Addams Family. They were just characters.
Right.
And so when they made the TV show, they actually gave them all names, but they really didn't have names in the comic strips. And so I just thought like this one's a little clear, but there's like these great gray tones and like side of pencil stuff. I don't know how they reproduced this. It must have been a little bit more expensive. But there's like wash, there's ink wash, and all kinds of stuff going on here. And you can see, I mean, this is a completely realized world, but it didn't have like really any coherent storyline or anything. They were just reoccurring, it was a reoccurring macabre family.
Yeah.
And just perfect stuff, man.
And it was basically just about the gag, right? It wasn't necessarily, he had the whole family, but it wasn't them necessarily interacting in a comic strip. It was just about the gag, and it happened to feature these characters, right? Isn't that how
exactly? Yeah, and all of his stuff it wasn't just the Addams Family. They were just macabre, comic strips. But I shouldn't say comic strip. I guess it is, but yeah, it would just be one illustration.
One panel gag, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's not the one. Where's the other one? Is this it here? Yeah. So here, like he would draw them as a family.
Yeah.
So and then there was always the one guy looking over the wall. So there was always that character, like looking over the staircase or whatever. So it's so weird, like it's so realized as a family, but it didn't really come together until the TV show. So I always wondered if anybody knows in the chat, if there's any interviews with Charles Adams, if he really talks about the creation of this and if he thought about them in any deeper way other than like the one strip, gags, because this is really, it's fully realized, man. If you look at enough of the strips, the Addams Family are there, the character designs, the way they interact, their likes, their dislikes, it's all there. Yeah. So I find great inspiration in this. I wish I could have found, I have the big Charles Adams book. It's got hundreds of his drawings in there. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. So I think he's tremendous.
Guy too? Was
What's
he,
that?
working for the New Yorker? I would assume he's from the Northeast. Was he part of that? Connecticut, a lot of guys live there, and like you were saying, or New Rochelle, New York. I wonder if it'd be great to learn about.
I don't know that much about his backstory, at all. But I just think like if you think about somebody who created something that was just a one panel gag that became an empire,
Yeah.
I mean, there was just a cartoon that was just made, a couple years ago, like an animated cartoon, so that thing had legs.
Resonated.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, Billy.
All right, share that. I gotta go with the Far Side. Just
yeah.
pure joy. Pure joy. What I loved. You guys were saying that's what they say. This just reminded me of one of them. You, Bernie Horowitz. So you're the they, and that's what they say. He's got his phones. I mean, his art really. It is what it is. It's. He's a pure cartoonist. He's brilliant. But just his gags and how smart he was, and if I could share another one, one of my other favorite ones. Let me just see. Hang on a second here. Okay, yeah, that one. Okay, so let me just stop sharing. And share screen.
What's crazy? Some of them have aged really well, and some of them haven't.
Yeah, I love this.
My favorite one is the one with what birds see, and it's just targets on top of people's heads.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Or the one, when Igor's in the bar and he's all depressed. He's like, yeah, I hate my boss too. It's always Igor go get brains. Igor go get dead bodies. He's like, I don't know. Give me another beer. But I love this one here where, about turbulence, but it's really pilots just having fun. Folks. We just had a report of some turbulence ahead, so please stay in your seat for a while. And he's like, ready, 1, 2, 3, like, wow! I see guys like, there you go, it's bigger, And then they're on this jet. And look at their faces, their eyeballs. Look at this guy right here. And he's like, well, folks, I guess we're through the worst. Oh, wait, look at the other guy looking at him. And look at this shit-eating grin on his face. Looks like the Joker. We're coming to some more turbulence. Just something you really look forward to every day. Like the School of the Gifted. You see that one, and the guy's trying to. It says push the door, pull to open. The guy's just leaning against the door of the kid. Just great stuff. Great stuff.
I love the one with the two spiders at the bottom of a slide, with the web across the bottom, waiting for a kid to come down. And the one spider says to the other, if this plan works, we're going to eat like kings.
Oh, shit. I remember the one with the clown in the alleyway where it just says when clowns go bad, and he had a pie in his hand. He was hiding in the alleyway and the people were walking up the street.
They were I mean, just the mind of that guy.
Yeah.
To come up with that stuff. Because you look at it and you're just like, what? That's just so simple. Why didn't I think of that?
So funny.
He got syndicated in an hour.
Wow.
He showed up at the syndicate with his stuff, and they had him leave it, and then he walked away. And they called him back like within minutes before he got like a block away or something. And they came back and they signed a contract. I mean,
wow,
it's unheard of.
But I mean, when did he retire that strip? Because it's been
long time,
for like 20 years or so.
In the 90s, right? 95 or 94, he retired.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's they would have the monthly. They'd have the calendar ones, every day. It's just another farce. 65 days. And they've been all over the place because they're just so genius. Genius.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume the guy just makes a living off of royalties. He's still alive, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
crazy.
That's what I would assume.
Cray. But that's
awesome.
Joy. Pure joy and nostalgia. Just that.
I'm ending on an adventure strip. Good old Tarzan by Hogarth.
Yeah.
I love this stuff so much.
You just like that extra piece of ass skin that he always drew.
I did.
What the hell was that?
I have no idea. That was weird. There are certain things that it definitely did that you're just like, that's effing weird.
People
But,
that
I don't know
what is he talking about? Extra asking. All you got to do is
gotta-
go to the Bern Hogarth, dynamic drawing books, with the
Right.
naked figures and stuff, and you'll know what we're talking about.
Yeah. It's not really
grabs his
it's not
dynamic figure drawing.
There
There you go, buddy. I got one.
Show the ass skin, Dan.
Oh yeah.
Dan, is that the copy of dynamic figure drawing that has
There
a
you
quote
go.
on the back from
Everybody's got
me?
that book, man.
There you go. I think that's going to be the calling card if we like something on the Professionals. Asking.
Asking.
Not
I'm
Andy.
just
This one.
asking, Billy.
This one is.
Does this piece of art get an extra asking? It sure does.
No quote on this one, Andy.
No, it's not that copy. There's a copy that came out in the 2000s that there's a quote on the back from Joe Kubert, Bart, and myself.
This is a 1970 copy. This is from 1970.
Is that the hardback, Dan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
Yeah, that's the one I got. Yep.
hardcover.
But yeah, I just Hogarth stuff. I look at this and I look at the time period, 50s, late 40s and 50s, and I'm like, damn it, it would have been cool to see him draw some Golden Age superhero stuff.
Yeah.
But
Why would he take a step down when he had
Yeah,
right.
the Golden Age
yeah.
superhero artist wanted to do this stuff.
this? Yep.
Oh, I know.
I think it's an interesting choice in that first panel where Tarzan's wrist is bent against his waist.
Oh, that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooga.
That's my
Well,
problem with Bern Hogarth is there's a little too much movement sometimes with his artwork.
Oh yeah.
That's what I was
It's
about
like
to say.
art.
He gets so rhythmic with his figures that sometimes you're like, yeah, you didn't need to twist that or you didn't need to tilt that.
Right.
let me get my cup of coffee.
Tone
Art,
it
did
back.
you tell him that one time when you guys were hanging out at Delmonico's Steakhouse? You said that to Bern. You had a conversation with him, and you like, listen, Bern.
Yeah.
It's a little.
I set him straight. I said,
That's
down, Billy.
Stop at me. Yeah.
The first time I ever met Bern Hogarth was at the Cow Palace where Art was appearing as well. No, I'm not. This isn't a joke. This is not a joke. This is true.
It's
In the Bay Area. It's a place where they would hold conventions and fairs and things. It's called the Cow Palace. And Art Bear was there. And I had samples. I've told this story before, but I had samples that was Nomad, written by Fabian Nicieza. Some Nomad stories, and he's wrestling a horse and whatever. But I saw Hogarth, and I'm like, I know who that is. I'm going to show him my stuff, and maybe he can give me some pointers. He whipped out a Sharpie and drew right on top of my pages.
Yep.
Not copies either. And I was mortified and could not show them to anyone else. It's like because it was drawn on. I gotta find those. I know I have them somewhere.
Find those, bro.
I gotta
And then
find
Dan
those.
Frege said he said, Bern, you're a closeted homosexual.
And the light was on.
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
That's all.
I saw Bern Hogarth at a convention in the early 1980s in New York, and he just came across as an angry dude. All he did was rag on the business of comics and stuff. And maybe he wasn't wrong. I think he was criticizing the direction comics were going back then. But it just came across to a young guy like me at the time that, it just seemed like an angry old guy, that was lamenting about, hey, you never like comics.
You're the second person. Those trees are awesome. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's great.
They look like melting wax. Or jizz, sorry about that. Yeah, not
1947. Well, while you're thinking,
you're the second. You're the second. Sorry, you're the second guy, Graham, that has mentioned that Hogarth wasn't nice. I had lunch with Mignola once, and he told me he was on a panel with Hogarth, and that he basically insulted every other panelist on the panel during this thing, and that he just came across as this bitter, angry dude.
Yeah, Yeah.
Sounds like me. Sounds like me.
Yeah.
And
We
Aaron,
know
that,
Jizz Foliage.
Yes, it
That's
did.
my pin name.
That's my punk
guys-
rock band.
That's my pin name,
Did
Jizz
you
Foliage.
guys know that Al Williamson ghosted a few Tarzans for Hogarth?
No.
Yes, he did.
Oh.
Yeah, if I would have thought of it, I would have pulled them out because I've got copies of them because I've got a bunch of these reprint books of Hogarth's Tarzan stuff. Yeah,
Are you
Al
gonna
Williamson's first gig. Huh?
Oh, are you getting a Gil Kane vibe of the? I think it's the last panel on that tier that we're looking at, where his arms up in the air with the big.
Yeah.
With the giant head.
It's the up the nose. It's up the nose shot.
And even the gesture and yeah.
See where he goes wrong here is he doesn't extend the hand out because the hand's in the foreground, but the hand is so tiny compared to the size of that head. He's not foreshortening it properly.
Yeah.
Right.
So that whole shoulder, girdle right there, and the arm and everything should be extending larger, and the hand should be larger. And it looks just like a kid's arm on this giant head dude on MODOK.
You know, this is perfect because we all grew up on his anatomy books, and now we're critiquing the guy that we all cut our teeth
Oh, the
off.
irony.
well, you know,
irony.
it's interesting how that you say that Williamson ghosted him a few times because Frazetta told me that, you know, I was just asking about everybody, you know, Al Williamson. He's like, yeah, Al's good, but you know, he draws his guys a little fruity.
Yeah,
That's hysterical.
Oh.
Yeah,
but
no,
I get what Frank's saying. You know, there's sort of you know, I mean, Stan Lee said the same thing about Gil Kane.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that
exactly right.
his figures, you know, look kind of like dancers. You know, implying that they were gay. Of course, Gil obviously became this dynamic and incredible artist that you know you couldn't argue with, but you know, Williamson's figures did have sort of a, you know, they didn't have the same type of testosterone that Frazetta's figures did.
Fruity.
Yeah, I heard this story that Stan Lee called Gil Kane into his office and said, you know, Gil, you're next to Kirby's stuff. Your guys look a little fey, I believe is the word he said.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Kane said, Stan, next to Jack, everybody's characters look fey.
Fey.
That's a great response if that's true.
That's
because
how I heard it. Yeah.
because you brought up Frazetta, this was another one I was going to bring up, but if you don't have the Johnny Comet collection of all the Frazetta strips, it's a great book.
Yep. Look at that face of that old lady in the third panel.
I know.
Right.
Can you zoom in on that?
It looks like she's melting.
Yeah, hold
I
on.
know. It's awesome.
And
I
that
mean,
guy,
the line work gets a little crappy, but
that guy didn't really write it, right? He was a race car driver, and they just used his name for it. Is that right?
oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have no
Don't
idea.
know.
That's, that's great stuff. Rosetta was so good.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The best. Look at that,
Yep.
the shine and sheen on that gal's top.
Yeah.
That dress.
Presenting. Yeah, she's presenting like she's like, hey, you like what you see?
Yeah.
Johnny digs it. Johnny's
She's
not
peacocking
gay.
out.
He digs it.
Yeah,
That's some whiteout on. That's some whiteout right there too.
Yeah.
Look
I mean,
at
look at the and even the cops on the lower
The
right.
belt.
standing and their
Oh my gosh, that's
body
beautiful.
weight and their
Yeah,
posture.
it's like almost like a Linedecker or a Norman Rockwell composition type.
Yeah, it's just so
It's just-
good.
God.
Look at
So
the way
good.
the car fits in that panel.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love the
Just the way he
leg.
did the
What do you
high
guys call that? The
curve.
invisible line? If that's what it's called? The invisible
Uh,
line?
invisible line, I
The
think.
suggested line.
What I love it. Oh, look at that. With that car with the headlights.
Yeah.
Yep.
Look at that chick with the headlights.
What?
Lights are on.
All right, Aaron.
I really like
this is
that
your
first
first strike, Aaron.
Hang on,
This is your
hang on,
first strike.
hang on. That is official comic book collector language. When they had a girl on a cover, with boobs sticking out, they would call it a headlight cover. You check any of the Overstreet price guys, and they have them listed as headlight covers. So
all right, you keep telling yourself that, Aaron.
It's
spoken like a true collector.
That's right.
Technical term.
So says the man that pissed Bern Hogarth off by referring to him as Forey Ackerman.
Oh shit!
That's right.
You look like
Forey Ackerman. You know, it was at a party. It was dark. You know,
Uncle Forey. If you look at them when they were older, they both look like they could be brothers. Those two guys.
Hey, you know what's interesting about this this piece you have up? I'm looking at it in the book that Andy's talking about.
Yeah,
and it's got little asterisks, interesting facts about it.
Mm-hmm.
It says the October 19th original is inscribed by Frazetta to noted Frankenstein and Swamp Thing illustrator Bernie Wrightson. So this original belonged to Bernie at a certain point.
oh, it's right here. Yeah,
Isn't that
Really
cool?
make it out, but right here.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's
You know,
brilliant. This is
Somebody
amazing work.
Somebody asked Frazetta once, out of all the contemporary artists, this was a while ago, so you have to kind of couch contemporary, but I asked him of all the contemporary artists who he felt was the closest to his level of talent, and he said Wrightson.
Did he?
Yep.
Because
Really?
I heard he said something similar about Jeffrey Jones.
Well, maybe he said it about everybody.
That was
Well,
right
they're
after
both
Aaron
in
Paul.
that family though. You know that sort of.
Yeah, I was never a big Jeff Jones fan, though.
Oh man!
really?
I love Jeffrey Jones.
I love
stuff.
Jeff Jones paintings.
Yeah.
I love his line or their
Every
whatever.
once in a while, he would hit
Idol.
one that I thought was really, really nice, but for the most part, it just didn't do it for me.
His
Man, I
ink
love
work
the Idol.
is amazing. His ink work is fantastic.
Yeah, that you ever see the strip that he did called Idol? It was the pregnant girl.
Yeah.
The compositions, the balance of what do you call that? No tan, the balance of black and white blew my mind.
Yeah, he makes it look
What was
easy.
the one where the girl like ate somebody, or it was like the guy was protecting the girl because he loved this girl, and she was like this horrible creature that would eat people. What was
You're talking about that creepy story, Clarice, not Clarice. The right dead. Oh, for crying out loud! It's the name of the girl. It's, yeah, she was like this. Yeah, he finds her out in the woods. Some huntsman's about ready to chop her head off, and he kills the guy to save her. And she's this mutant, weird chick, and he takes her home, and he's mesmerized with her, and she's just disgusting. And then the family runs away and leaves him with this girl. And then she puts on his wife's clothes and crawls in bed with him. It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
He's like cannibalizing people around the neighborhood and stuff. So then
Yeah.
he goes out the woods to kill her, and then someone shoots him, and the whole cycle starts over.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh wow!
Oh, yeah.
That's an awesome story.
I can't think. Writes in peace. Bruce Jones wrote it, and it's. I'll think.
Oh, that was Wrightson. I was thinking that was Jones.
No, it was Bernie Wrightson story all the way.
That's what I'm saying, man. There's some
one that-
interchangeability.
Was that Wrightson the one that was? It was their vampire hunters, and they're walking, and they notice one of the vampire hunters doesn't cast a shadow on the pond on the over a bridge below it, and it turns out that one of the vampire hunters is a vampire, and he lures these men into the woods to kill them all. You know,
That's
he's
crazy.
like, he shows his fangs. The moon is, the full moon's behind him like that, and he's about to kill him, and all of a sudden he gets grabbed by the throat by one of the other guys, and he goes, "I can't allow you to do this." And you see, and also the last panel is he's like this, and he's a werewolf. He goes, I need these people for myself every full moon. And it's just really, oh my God, it just blew my fucking mind when I saw it. It's one of I figured that might have been
one of my favorite
eerie.
werewolf stories is a Western werewolf story. Where this werewolf is like terrorizing the town and stuff, and the people are hoping that this guy is going to come and rid the werewolf, and the werewolf is about to attack some guy, and then there's a gunshot. And the werewolf reels in the background, and he ends up dying, and he turns into whoever it is. It's that's the big reveal, and then the townspeople look off in the distance to where the shot came from, and there's a horse rearing up in the moonlight. It's the Lone Ranger.
Oh
No.
Yeah.
The
And he rides off,
Sorry,
and then the guy says, "Who was that masked man?" And
Nice.
the silver bullet, he kills the werewolf. I was like, I got chills when I read that as a kid. I was like,
I am utterly surprised that one of your favorites is a horror Western mashup.
What a
Yeah. How could that ever be the case? Look at the background.
I don't
Hey,
even
I'm
get it.
open-minded, guys. I like other things, like westerns and horror.
You guys saw the Frazetta 2-page werewolf story that was in was it Creepy #1 or Creepy #2?
Yeah, I just found it.
That's great.
I've
That-
got creepy #1. I'll have to look. I can't
It's right
remember
here.
which
It's
one
creepy #7, maybe. Oh no, that. Might,
Oh, okay.
no, that might be just the ad. That's just the ad. I mean, just the headline. But if I can share my screen, oh my
Yeah.
god, look at this. Hang on, let me do it. Let me see if I click on it. I'm gonna make it bigger first. If I click on it, nope. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got it. Okay, share. Sorry, apologize.
No, take your time.
It'll
Here
be
it is. Creepy Archives Volume 1 review. The Fanatic for it. There.
Oh,
Yeah, see
the
it?
archives? I've
Yeah,
read
look
that
at
one.
that.
That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
Look at that
Holy
second panel.
crap.
Look at that. Can
You're
you
like,
scroll up?
whoa,
Look at that.
right, dude.
That is
Look at the body
awesome.
language on this guy on the right.
I know.
Dude.
Lord.
So cool.
That dude's
I
an alpha male right there.
Oh yeah, I would be so proud my whole life to just do 2 panels like this.
I know.
And,
Yeah, right.
imagine, it's like writing, I don't know, yesterday or something. Like how do you feel when you finish? Well, Frazetta's probably like, let's go.
What
What
issue is this bigger? You said this is creepy #1?
I think it's
number
Creepy
2, I think.
Archives, 4-color.
Creepy Archives, Volume 1.
Reading an extra volume in Stark. Black
Creepy
and White.
Archives, Volume 1. I gotta write that down.
Yeah, make
sure-
the last panel bigger, Billy.
Which one?
The last panel.
I can't. It won't get larger.
Oh man, because
I
that
mean-
detail's getting lost.
Yeah, it's not a it's not a thing on its own. I
Oh,
apologize.
that looks so crazy. Look
Well,
at that.
I mean, if I go back,
Wait. What's scroll down for the title?
Creepy Archives, Volume 1.
The title of the story.
Hang on, let me put it over here so I can see better. Okay, the story is by Larry Ivie, Ivie.
No. What's the title?
I think it's just werewolf.
Yeah, it just says werewolf.
Okay, all right.
It's Pinterest. Let me see if I click that. Let's see. Come on, Jimmy Crickets. Jimmy Cricket. Damn it all to hell. Damn it.
I have.
You want to buy a car? You got cars here on the side. Look at that. You can buy a Mustang for $9,500.
Yeah, it's just called Werewolf, guys. We find ourselves in the darkest Africa with 2 hunters and a curse. Page 30.
Is that spirit? Is that spirit all inked or is it gray wash? Like
It's
is
gray
that,
wash. I'm looking at it.
yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at it on my other computer because I actually have a digital copy of it. It's gray wash, and there's gray wash on the alpha male guy. There's gray wash on the African dude in the middle.
It's creepy
Grab
#1.
that image if I could.
I've got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
It's creepy
Stop
#1.
that.
Just for it's
Creepy #1,
It's
page
creepy
30.
#1?
Yeah,
It is
page
creepy
30.
#1. Oh, so I have it.
#1.
Nice.
Creepy
I gotta pull
#1,
that
page
out for
30.
you. Damn it. That's awesome.
God, I
This
would
is
love
actually
to
funny.
be able to play with the gray tones and stuff like that to do an actual project like that. We got to bring back an anthology so we can all kind of play with different styles. Just do 8 or 12 pages.
I've been
This
saying
is kind of funny. Ghost of Cecil's Beard says that last panel will take EVS a week to plan, a month to talk about, and 6 months to draw. Man, not even here, and he's getting busted down. Damn.
Oh, that's funny.
Here we go, Andy.
I see it. Oh,
Yeah.
There
Zoom,
you
zoom,
go.
zoom.
There you go, Graham Nolan.
Who's
That's
your
it.
baby?
Who's your daddy? Graham Nolan. Frank
Art's a bear.
So it's a 2-page story. That's it.
Yeah,
Oh, that's all you need. Look at how gorgeous this thing
I
is.
know.
probably took him 2 weeks.
It's a great piece, man.
Yeah, Frazetta. Remember, Frazetta probably did. Did he do like 40 paintings? That's it, his whole life, like paintings. He wasn't, a big prolific worker.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dan, is this you? Can you blow up that last panel?
That's not me. That's
Graham.
Graham.
Oh, this is Graham. Graham, can
Yeah.
you?
That's that is blown up.
Now,
Okay.
now that he's the artist, was he the letterer too?
Who?
Frazetta.
Frazetta.
I doubt it.
They would have letterers who did that.
Yeah, this is done for Warren magazine, so I'm sure Jim Warren had his letterers.
Yeah, there was production.
Oh, Graham, that story, Jennifer was the name of the story.
That's it, Jennifer.
Yeah, it's right here.
Somebody in the chat.
Creepy 63. Thank you, Zaid.
Yeah, Zaid Comics. Attaboy.
Phillips got it.
Yeah, he knows.
Phillips an old soul.
Find that
Man.
one about the werewolf versus the vampire, where that would be, because I need it every full moon. It was in those magazines when they released them. Like I said, it was creepy, eerie. Remember the ones with like the rook on it and stuff like that? That fun.
Oh, the Rook. Yeah.
Warren would be a great show to do about Warren.
Yeah. Oh man, I'd love to talk about Warren.
That'd be a great show.
Yeah.
You mean
That is
Warren
very
Ellis?
cool.
Warren Beatty, Warren Oates,
Warren Ellis.
anybody.
Poor Warren Ellis.
He's coming on.
Do I
Isn't it on
make you
your show?
scorny?
Oh,
Hey,
but they might try to cancel us.
We're gonna wrap this show up. My kids are like, "Where's my food?"
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to give everybody a solo screen so they can pitch their stuff, and then we'll call it. So, Aaron, you're up first.
Okay, groovy. Will you share this real quick? Rather than looking at my face, let's
Yeah, I'll
look
share it.
at
Once I
that.
can.
All right. Wraith of God is my crowdfunding project. The pre-launch page is up right now. So I'm getting people to sign up and put in their email addresses so I can contact everybody when it actually goes live, and you can actually then send me money for the book. But right now I'm just collecting emails. If you sign up now and order the book, you get a free trading card. That'll be very cool. But this is I have 3 covers for the book. This is my 1972 retro Marvel homage cover, and then of course there's another one, and I have another person drawing the third one, which I'll announce as soon as I actually get some work from him. So
It looks fantastic.
And all the links for everybody are in the description below, so you can find them there.
and he doesn't get
Somebody
killed
just
by the
asked.
Lone Ranger at the end.
So there
High
you
out
go.
silver. Away.
The Lone Ranger is not
Yay.
involved in this comic.
Fragaboom, take it away.
Yo, what's happening? You guys know who it is. It's me, Fragaboom. I have a channel. It's called Fragaboom. I have a Twitter called Fragaboom and Couch Doodles. Couch Doodles on Instagram. We like to talk about art, the making of art. Not art to bear, though. Art's parents made art. They're different kind of artists. But we have fun. We talk comics. We talk shop. A little bit of drawing on there. Also, a lot of really great campaigns out there. Absolute 2s out there on demand. You've got Earthbound 2 as well. A lot of fun, good stuff out there. And make sure you subscribe to all the Brofessionals. All of us have channels, and this show rotates around. So go check them out.
All right, Black Flag is in the link description below. And like he said, all of us have channels. Please subscribe to all our channels. It is Graham Nolan.
Hey.
Oh, wait, I know what you want me to do.
I'm here in Texas at the Alien Alamo. That's what I'm working on right now. It's in demand. We got 1,321 backers that just cannot be wrong. So if you're not on board, you need to get on board and join the party. It's going to be a great comic, and you're going to love it. And I also have a YouTube show called The Storytellers that's on every Wednesday night, usually around 8 o'clock, depending on the guests, where I interview top-notch creators, and we talk about storytelling and their techniques and their motivations and all that kind of great stuff. So, you just look up Graham Nolan on YouTube and you'll find it.
Ooh, there you go. T-Bones to Bear.
We got Chrono Mechanics. Chrono Mechanics is still in demand, and we're going to close out the campaign at the end of this month. So if you want to pick up a copy, we still have them. The book is done, and we'll ship ASAP. And a lot of the stretch goal stuff is still going out with the books. So if you order now, you'll still get the stretch goals. And we are doing the follow-up to this book right here. So this is Black and White Volume 1. Volume 2, the pre-launch page is up right now. So I do believe it's in the description, like Andy said. So click on that. Make sure you watch the video. Red Gaze did the video. He did a great job. And sign up. And we're going to be launching that bad boy soon. And I also wanted to say something. I'm pretty sure that somebody in this this group of Brofessionals has done comic strip work. Graham, didn't you do some Phantom stuff?
Oh, I did the Phantom for 6 years. I did Rex Morgan MD for 13 years.
Wow.
And Andy, if you'll share my screen, you'll see Sunshine State, which I have done for now 9 years and continue to do.
Yeah, great stuff.
That's all you, right, Graham? That's all you.
This is all me. This is a funny strip. This one I picked because if you've ever integrated with Twitter, you'll get this. I'll just go up a little bit. You can read it. I like apple pie.
I sure do.
Perfect. We'll add a hashtag so more people will see it.
I like that.
Look, you're already getting comments. Cool. Who eats apple pie anymore?
Feelings too.
Fruit
Apples
killer.
have feelings too. Hashtag fruit killer.
That's great.
That is not the world I want.
That is perfect. That is
I
perfect.
remember that one.
Outstanding, Mr. N. Outstanding.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friends.
Oh my
Thank
God,
you.
That's good stuff. Mr. Pooch, I see a
Thanks for
screen.
bringing that up, Art. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
No problem,
and we are launching next week. I think my preview page is ready to launch, but Debbie hasn't done finished all the things. But we have the She Omnibus volume number 1. I think it's going to be about 500 pages. Let me do this better. I apologize. There you go.
Wait a minute. Did you say 500 pages?
500. It's our first omnibus. Yeah, it's
Wow.
right now we're at 464. I think it's going to be about 464 page hardcover of She, collecting the first 16 issues of She. I think I published close to 100 of them. And this is it. We digitally rescanned in all the pages and this is. I don't know if I should take this down because I don't know if we'll get approved with it on. But this is.
You're not showing
wait a minute. Does it? Hey, Aaron, do you approve?
Oh yeah.
There you go. This is the first page of She. This is when you bought She Way of the Warrior number 1. This is the original cover recolored by my buddy Wes Hartman, who is awesome.
It looks
beautiful.
Well, actually, not the final version. I'll show the final version on Monday because we took the pink out of her cheeks because I didn't want her to look like a whore. And Geisha's really makeup doesn't have pink, but yeah, this is what people open the books to, and it caused lots of controversy. And but we show the page. You see, the progression. This was all hand colored. The first
fashion illustration.
Yeah, and then people love this dress.
Yeah.
That she had this dress. She went to a thing and just Amanda Connor. We had 3 issues of the Tomo interlacing miniseries that's added to it that Amanda Connor drew and Jimmy Palmiotti inked. And just fun stuff, man. This original page, double page spread. When you could do the Frag, I remember doing the double page spreads like that.
I do. I still do them.
Right? I still do them. I love them.
I still do them.
Cool.
And that was a double page spread. So it's a lot of fun. So we're going to launch this 30-day campaign. And it's going to be a real premium formatted, high quality. There's Debbie posing for the cover of Way the Warrior #1 back in '94 with this Japanese sword my stepfather brought back from the war.
Wow.
And yep. So just a bunch of fun stuff. And then we're going to have a print. I think what makes it exclusive is that it's going to come with an exclusive print. So it's
amazing. It's amazing how your wife hasn't aged a day, but you, on the other hand,
look like shit. I know, bro. You know, it's not the years, it's the mileage, bro. I'll tell you that. So we're gonna launch our pre-launch page probably on Monday, and then we'll have our we'll launch, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday. Well, Thursday is the Brofessionals, so probably Wednesday we'll launch. Unless I just launch on Thursday at 7. And then we go right into the Brofessionals at 8, which could be fun.
There you go.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
So thank you. So if you guys wouldn't mind, once I post the link for the pre-launch page, please sign up. And Haikyo is all done. I'd say we're 99.9% done with fulfilling. I owe a few more commissions, and I'll get that done in the next couple of weeks. So Thank you all for supporting it. I really appreciate it. We're over ourselves with that book. We're closing on 220,000 with it from the Indiegogo and the Kickstarter.
Wow!
And that's why I do both. That's why Debbie says do both. I'm like, okay. I'd rather just stay on one platform. I prefer one to the other that you guys all use. But what do they say? Happy wife, happy life.
Correct.
So
that's right.
And she doesn't know anything that's going on.
I've got First Man in Demand, so you can go buy that, and they're in the house, so they ship out the next day. And First Man Volume 2, sign up is up. This is boom. So go sign up for that. Link in the description below for that as well. Please sign up. So you'll get 10% off when the campaign launches in the next couple of weeks. And thank you, everyone, for joining another episode. Oh, there's his dreamboat.
That's right.
Get out of here, Kathy. Go.
Is she on the
Aniston cartooning?
She's on the back. Yeah, she's on the back.
Oh, God.
She just retired that a few years ago. So yeah, thanks everyone for joining this episode of the Brofessionals. We all have channels. Please subscribe to our channels as we all host the Brofessionals. It bounces around. So please subscribe and spread the word. And next week we will be back. And until then, you know what I like to bring back? Go ahead,